Edmonton Oil Kings at Rogers Place is a family fun Sunday.
Featuring a full concourse carnival with bouncy castles, face painting, and more.
Plus, a post-game player autograph session after every Edmonton Oil Kings Family Fun Sunday matchup.
The entertainment value is with an empty net.
The best day at Rogers Place starts at $20 a seat.
The first of his career. And the Sabres go up 7-4 with 43.4 seconds to go in his career.
From across North America.
If it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first.
Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6.
Stuck got it outside the line.
The longest-running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting nonstop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution.
And the Sabres
Let's put
team
an
goes
end
back
to
here
those
for
calls
Snyder.
from creditors.
Snyder down low to Gregor.
Visit BDO.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Born from work, built to play. New Super Ducks tickets are built for hard-working people.
Castling on to win the face-off. He does. Here's McAvoy.
This
Motor
ultra-tough
City.
gear fights off
McAvoy.
wind, snow, and cold.
Center.
While full-swing technology packs 3M insulation for maximum warmth. Try your new Carhartt Super Ducks at JobSite Workwear. 3 locations in Edmonton and online at jobsiteworkwear.ca.
JobSite Workwear, tough different jobs.
I feel so close to you right now. It's a force field. I wear my heart up.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Hostinina, Pasternak, McAvoy, Sanders.
On Sports 1440.
Stuck got it outside the line. Toronto's onside as they touch that puck. Here's Dahlin with an empty net. Scores! Hat-trick goal for Rasmus Dahlin, the first of his career.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
The place with goalie. Evans into the circle, coming in front of backhand, and he scores. Jack Evans gets the Canadians the extra point with the overtime win.
What a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. PlayAlberta.ca, so you can get in the game. Of course, the OG of lotteries, Lotto 649, $20 million gold ball jackpot, and the classic jackpot of $5 million tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Last night, some of you partook in photo day down for the Edmonton Oilers, and you see a lot of stories from there and different things like that. And I saw a post about a young boy in a wheelchair who got to meet Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Cameron was his name. And I'm going to get Cameron. He looked like he was, early teenage years. And he was so excited to meet the Nuge, they started tearing up. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins almost started tearing up, said, man, I think that's the first time that I've ever had someone who's that happy to meet me. started tearing up. And so, it means a lot to some people for sure. And it's good to see that, Nugent Hopkins, pretty humble dude at the end of the day. And I think something like that can kind of strike you like, wow, you know what? The worst day being an NHL player is still pretty damn good. So, for all those who got a picture last night and got the opportunity to say hello and meet some of your favorite players, and maybe some who weren't your favorite players, but usually after meeting them and talking to them and you have a little interaction, suddenly you're like, oh, geez, I really kind of like this guy. Might be funny, because I could tell you if anybody had a few moments to chat with the guys like Calvin Pickard, pretty funny dude. And I can tell you that Pickard would be one of those guys. He's not the superstar of the team, right? He's not the best player on the team. Right now, he's not even a regular in the lineup. But as human beings go, he's one of the nicer ones. And I think people who, if you had a chance to kibitz and work with him today, you'd be pretty excited about it. So we'll see. Oilers will be taking on the San Jose Sharks tomorrow night. And we've been talking about this on my show for a while, because it's look at all the statistics and I look at all the numbers, and it's an oddity and something that's very strange. The Edmonton Oilers, they have played 54 games. They have yet to win 3 games in a row. Just for fun, do you know what the franchise record is for most games played in a season necessary to get to a 3-game winning streak? Right, how many games did they play before they won 3 in a row? Oilers began in 1979, 1980. The Oilers have played 54 games this season. In their first season, 52 was when they got their 3-game winning streak for the first time. Now, keep in mind that in the salary cap era, it's a little bit easier to win because of the overtime and shootout, right? Like, every game is guaranteed to end in a victory for one team or the other. That didn't used to be the case when you had ties. So it is mathematically a little bit easier now. Now, the Oilers have had 9 previous 2-game winning streaks. They went 0-7-2. 2 of them, they had a chance, but they could not get that elusive victory. So tomorrow is game 55 for the Edmonton Oilers. And if they win, they will then tie the 1992 Oilers and the 2000 Oilers for most games needed to get a 3-game winning streak. They did it in their 55th game in 99, in 92, and in 2000. You think about like the decade of darkness. Think about that for a second. You lived through it. Some of you want to forget it. During the decade of darkness, 5 times the Oilers managed a 3-game winning streak in the first 10 games of the season. 5 times in the decade of darkness. Connor McDavid's rookie season, 2015-16, 7 games. The next year, 6 games. 2019, 5 games. 2020, they won their first 3 games of the season. 2022, they won their first 3 games of the season. They've had a lot of single digits. That's why 55 freaking games is wild. If they don't win tomorrow, that's a new franchise mark, because then the earliest they could get it would be in game 58. So that's something to watch for. The Sharks come in. They've won 2 in a row. They spanked the Canucks. No surprise. The way the Canucks are playing right now, San Jose. Macklin celebrating his hometown, goes in there and picks up a 4-point night. And the Sharks come into Edmonton, and here they are. With every passing day, the San Jose Sharks just stay in the playoff race. It's great to see. I sure didn't have San Jose as a playoff team this year. I don't know if anybody did, but here they are. 57 points in 51 games. They're tied with LA, tied with Seattle. All of those teams winners last night. Seattle's now won 2 in a row. The Kings have won 3 in a row. Sharks have won 2 in a row. The Oilers sit with 62 points. They're 5 points up on the Sharks, but the Sharks have 3 games in hand. So this is still a game that, 3-game win streak aside, it means a lot in the standings. This will be game 55 for the Oilers. They'll have played the most games in the NHL, which will benefit them coming out of the Olympic break. Don't forget that, because they will have the least taxing schedule after the Olympic break. It was a good thing for them. So, or one of them. I think Minnesota might have the same games played by then as well. So we'll see. But the Oilers are in an opportunity here to just maybe get on a winning streak. But we've only said that nine times. The bad news for the Oilers, Matthias Ekholm is day-to-day. He is questionable for tomorrow night's game against the Sharks, courtesy of Chris Knobloch earlier today. So you had Regula was skating in the place of Ekholm, which, obviously that's not going to be the case, right? They'll play a lefty there with Bouchard, and you would probably put Wallman back on the left. You'd probably have Bouchard in one pairing, Nurse in one pairing, Wallman in one pairing. I'm going to guess. Maybe not. Because if you bring in Regula, I guess you could put Emberson back with Nurse and put Actually, that's probably what you do. You probably put Wallman with Bouchard and then just play Regula with Stastny. That's probably makes the most sense now, right? So, yes. Otherwise, if you have Wallman in your third pairing, you could play Wallman with, Wallman with Bouchard makes the most sense to me. And then you put Stastny with Regula, Emerson with Nurse, if Matthias Ekholm can't go tomorrow. So that'll be something to find out. Usually it's an optional skate, so who knows? Might not know. Be a game time decision for the Edmonton Oilers, but the lines stayed the same. Szymanski with Roslovic and Savoy, McDavid with Hyman and Nuge, Draisaitl with Kapanen and Podkolzin, and Lazar with Frederick and Janmark. So it's kind of where the Oilers are at. But the Ekholm one is interesting because, you know what? Obviously, he was on the ice protecting a 1-goal lead, scored the empty netter. So obviously, sometimes guys will just tweak something in a game and you got the adrenaline going, then you finish the game, and we'll see. So day-to-day, but day-to-day can still end up being a week. So we will we'll see how that goes. Other news around the NHL, how about the Buffalo Sabres? And what a story, Rasmus Dahlin. If you haven't followed that, Rasmus Dahlin has had quite the run personally. His fiance needed she had almost like a death scare, and then unfortunately they lost their baby. It has been a brutal run for him. And credit the Sabres like this. And Rasmus Dahlin's talked about how the Sabres have been unreal. When they had that emergency, they helped out right away, got him the best possible care. Then even during the season here, they let him fly back because she needed the open heart surgery. And, thankfully it went well for her. But unfortunately, they lost their baby, which, lots of people listening out there have lost a baby, before they're born, which is brutal. You have miscarriage, obviously for different reasons. And anyone can tell you that it's emotionally draining, no question. But he just continues to perform well. Had a hat trick last night, 5 points on Daryl Sittler night. A 5-point game for Rasmus Dahlin. The hat trick month continues, up to 28 hat tricks in the NHL now so far in 27 days. So 4 days left. 2 more hat tricks, and they'll set a record in the NHL for most hat tricks in 1 month, which is kind of wild. And, it's been a lot of defensemen lately. Bouchard, Ekholm, Dahlin, all since Saturday. It's crazy. You just don't see, that many hat tricks. Never mind defensemen getting hat tricks. But the Buffalo Sabres, Cons, as you know, I've kind of been a fan of the Sabres, just rooting for the team that, has been brutal for a long time. Kind of got on the Tage Thompson train a few years ago, and obviously there hasn't been much success. But the Sabres, man, they look legit. They are the best team in the NHL since December 1st. It's a full 2 months. It's not just like a stretch of 2 or 3 weeks, which can happen. But the longer you stretch it out, the more you have to look and say, man, this Buffalo team, I think they're a legit legit playoff contender and closing in on saying a playoff team.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, they've gone on some runs. They've been really good at home, 16-6-3. And, there's just a lot of things to like with the team. Obviously, I think for Oilers fans, you've got that empathy. Like, we know what you guys are going through. We've been there before. Like to see you turn it around. They had all the talent. And you look at the team on paper, it's really good. It was just kind of like, who's going to unlock this group? And it seems like, you change the coach, maybe shake a few things up, get players to pay a little bit more attention. And it's worked. New voice in the room. And I just want to echo your thoughts about Rasmus Dahlin for, he and his wife. It was, I believe, was supposed to be a date of birth yesterday, 2 days ago. For him to go out there, have the hat trick, I thought that was just an absolutely awesome moment for him and the team. But you're right. I don't know. It's going to be really tough in that division to hang on. I feel like you'll get some push from a few teams. And obviously catching the Lightning would be very tough. But they've got to be one of the best stories in sports right now.
Well, you look at it, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So last night, they lose to Buffalo. Montreal wins in overtime, so they help out the Edmonton Oilers. Vegas only gets 1 point. And the Boston Bruins also win. And now the Toronto Maple Leafs find themselves 8 points out of a playoff spot. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are the 4th worst road team in the National Hockey League this year. And they have way more road games than home games left this season. They've already played. They only have 10 home games left this year and 19 on the road. Almost 2-1. And they've only won 8 of their first 22 road games. So you're going to try to make up 8 points while playing 19 of your final 29 games on the road. Good luck. Like, honestly, I think last night you can probably say that was the unofficial elimination for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're not going in the right direction. Meanwhile, the teams in front of them are just playing well and creating separation. So who are you going to catch? Are you going to catch the Bruins? They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. The Sabres are the best team in the NHL over the last 2 months, right? The Montreal Canadiens, well, they hit a funk, but their funk was still better. It's 5-4-1. The Leafs in their last 10 are only 3-5-2. So, they lost 3 points to Montreal just in the last 10 games alone. They played the majority of them at home. So, I'm fascinated. I know that, you look at the Maple Leafs roster and you wonder, like, no one would have thought at the start of the year the Maple Leafs would be a team who could be a seller at the trade deadline. Like, I thought Toronto was going to take a step back. Hey, you lose a 95, 100-point player, you're going to have a step back. Now, I didn't think it would be this many steps back. I think there's more issues at play than just losing Mitch Marner. He's obviously a factor, but it's not the only factor. And then you start to look at some players on their team, and you're like, Now, Matthias Michelli, I do know this, that earlier in the season, a Michelli for Mangiapane trade was discussed. And, looking back, maybe they should have pulled the trigger. I don't know. Now, discussed and ready to do is different because, Michelli, this is his first year. He's 3.425. Mangiapane's 3.6. It's basically the same, but a little bit of savings for Edmonton. But Michelli's an RFA at the end of the year. I don't think anyone's qualifying him at that number. He's probably just going to walk. So that makes it a little bit easier if you're the team acquiring him rather than getting Mangiapane, right? So, but, Callie Yarncrook, Scott Lawton, other guys, the local Alberta boy, Bobby McCann. Now, he's due a big raise. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's going to get a big raise. This is, you're 29 years old. You're Bobby McCann. You've carved out a career that a lot of people didn't even think was possible. It's been a great story. If I'm him, sometimes you'll say, oh, you got to go where you want to play. I get it. A guy like that, I'm looking to say, I'm going to try to get the biggest payday I can. And I'm not even going to feel guilty about it. I think there's certain times you have to look at things realistically and say, hey, man, yeah, I would. And obviously for him, sure, for his family, playing in Edmonton, that would be great. But would you take less to do it? I don't know, right? Undrafted player. A few years ago, people were like, is this guy going to be a pro? Right? Like, he went to Colgate University. No one was really ever talking about him being an NHLer back in 2020 when he finished school. Right, started in the ECHL, then he went to the Marlies, then in 23 he was up for 10 games with the Maple Leafs, then 24 was 56. guy's been pretty good goal scorer. 15 goals in 56 games. He had 20 goals in 74 last game. Now he's got 17 goals this year. Like, he's a solid player. Solid player. And, he had his first playoff experience last year. And like a lot of guys in their first year, didn't go as productive as he would like. But a lot of guys learn from that. It's a bigger body, can really skate. It's a big guy. It's like legit 215, probably maybe plays closer, maybe even 220. And he can fly. And he would be an interesting name when you look at the Leafs roster that would make the most sense for Edmonton. I have no idea what's a guy, hey, 20 and 17, he's probably looking and say, and 15, he's like, hey, Trent Frederick, look what he got. Look what other guys got. He could probably command $4 million for sure. Maybe more. Cap going up. All depends. All it takes is one. So I'm going to be fascinated to see what the Maple Leafs do, because I don't think they're just going to rebuild. And Bobby McMahon's a good player on their team. They just want to let him walk for draft picks. So now you're going to lose more offense. He's tied for third on their team in goals. So it is a very interesting situation for Treliving with the Maple Leafs and what they might do there. So coming up on the show today, Mike Rupp will join us. We got Paul Sir talking some hoops. Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning. Jason Smith from Fox Sports will talk all things NBA, NFL, a little MLB. In the business of sport today, Neil Sheehy is going to join us. And now I know many of you are like, what? If you're from a little bit of an older vintage, I think you're like, Neil Sheehy, that, you know what? Oh, he was a rat when he was one of the few players that I thought could actually get under Gretzky's skin. There's not many guys that could, but man, he was one of them. And you know what? He was pretty tough. He would antagonize you, and sometimes he would back down. He still fought when he had to, but it was kind of on his terms, which makes you a good rat, right? No question. And had a pretty solid career. I think his went to the Cup with the Flames in '86, and smart dude. So we'll talk to him about not only a little bit of the playing days, but also, he's a lawyer, neuromuscular therapist. This guy is pretty educated. Also got a huge family. He's had 9 kids. So talk a little bit about that. And then helping to reform the NHLPA. He's had a hand in that. So a lot of different areas to touch on with Neil today in the business of sports. We also have, of course, coming up later, Spec will be by. We have your Remchuk. So a busy, busy Wednesday. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Mike Rupp joins us next. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpot's Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
The Oil Kings are Edmonton's first choice for family entertainment.
And every Sunday with the Edmonton Oil Kings at Rogers Place is a family fun Sunday.
Featuring a full concourse carnival with bouncy castles, face painting, and more.
Plus, a post-game player autograph session after every Edmonton Oil Kings Family Fun Sunday matchup.
The entertainment value is king size.
The best day at Rogers Place starts at $20 a seat at oilkings.ca.
When it comes to sports in Edmonton,
Jason Gregor is a must listen. He brings you the inside scoop with guests from across North America.
if it matters in sports, you'll hear it here first.
Gregor rolls out weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports 1440.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$226. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Sports 1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. I always say hello to Declan Cougar, running things down on all of our socials and YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. Say hi there. Give him a thumbs up. Always appreciates that. Hit the subscribe button as well. It's always welcome on our YouTube page. Very much appreciate it. Very simple thing to do. We'll see. Maybe one day we might have a contest for order tickets. And in order to enter, all you have to do is, take a screen capture of you hitting the subscribe button. Pretty simple. Show your sheet. Pretty easy. Take you like 2 seconds. Not very hard at all. Because I know most of you have a phone. Most of you have a phone. And I think you probably know how to send a picture. I would hope. Anyway, clean picture, that is. Clean picture. 227. Let's bring in our regular Wednesday guests as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, where, hey, stop in right now. And the $5 McValue meals are here. You can enjoy options like the sausage McMuffin or the McDouble small meal for only $5 at participating McDonald's. McDouble is good, real good. So we welcome in former NHLer, Stanley Cup winner, Game 7 hero, Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. Rupper, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm a little hungry now from that read that you just had there.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing a good job with that.
Hey, buddy, you know what? A few years, I know how to get through it. When you played, and obviously, like I know as we get older, we don't eat as much as we used to. But when you were young, like Mike Rupp, and you would stop into McDonald's, like how much would you eat in one serving?
I mean, I'd whatever you
Just like
called
a
it at the
burger,
time.
fries, and a pop. That's it.
I'd supersize it, but I wouldn't go like multiple meals. I know I have some buddies who will go like value meal plus a 10 count nugget. Like I wouldn't do that. I would do, I'm a big double quarter pounder with Big Mac sauce is my go-to. And I just, whatever you call it, supersize, making it large as far as the fries and the drink. But that's my go-to.
Okay. Now, were you a big eater? Like I've seen, like I went for dinner once with offensive linemen. I don't think I've ever seen a human being eat as much as that night in my life. But like, were you a big eater? Did you have guys that you played with? You're just like, oh my God, this guy's just like a endless pit.
Yeah, I ate a lot. I think one of the guys that really impressed me for a guy that ate a lot was Shane Doan. We used to say, like, this guy's a horse. He would eat, I mean, absurd amounts, Greg's. I remember he was finishing, when I played with him with the Coyotes, he was finishing guys' desserts at the table. So he had his own, and then he was like, you good with that? You done? All right, and he just send it down, and we'd just be sending them. And that's after he probably polished off, a 36-ounce steak or something like that. So he was one of those guys. You say, one of those back checking fuel. And but the guy can play, man. He was a horse out there.
Well, and that was the thing. Like he was always in great shape, but obviously he needed a lot of fuel to get rolling. And hey, man, his young son in the Buffalo Sabres, Rupper, it's 2 full months now. This is, like Rasmus Dahlin, everything that him and his wife fiance have gone through, and now losing a baby and everything, gets a hat trick last night. Like it's hard not to kind of have a soft spot for the Sabres and they've missed the playoffs 14 years in a row. So you look for their fans and you're like, you know what? They probably could deserve to get in. And I think for a lot of people who dislike Toronto, if Buffalo knocks them out, it's an even better angle.
Right? I thought about that as well. I mean, I'm dating back to when I played junior hockey in Erie, Pennsylvania in the Ontario Hockey League, and Buffalo was an hour and a half away. And I remember my billet family took me up to go see a Sabres-Leafs game in Buffalo. And that was the time when Ty Domi, Rob Ray was kind of the unsaid that was going to happen in that game. And every time they got on the ice, you could feel it amp up in the arena. But the bigger thing is that the whole arena was pretty much Leaf fans. I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys come over here into the States and just buy up all the tickets. But it's been like that. I mean, anytime you've seen that matchup, the Leafs have come into Buffalo. So Buffalo's got a little bit of a moment right now for them. And if they could make it in and punt out Toronto, I mean, that's incredible. But Greg, you mentioned like 2 months. Like, we're going to talk about it today at NHL Network. And it's so funny because I don't know if it's scar tissue. I'm not going to say they're not for real right now. I guess I'm just trying to find to what level. Like, are they a guaranteed playoff team? It could still happen where they fall out, but I kind of feel like they are going to be in the playoffs. But it almost gets to the standpoint now where I'm all of a sudden starting to enter into this realm of not just are they a playoff team, are they like an elite team in the East? I mean, that's how long they've been playing on the stretch. So at some point, I think we have to start considering that. But I still can't forget about the years of the past. It's this weird place we're in right now, but they're fun to watch, and they just keep winning.
Dude, 26-1 in their last 27 games. And you know what? They're scoring goals. They're averaging over a goal more per game. They lead the NHL in that time in goals at 3.78. The Avalanche are at 3.76, and the Oilers are 3.75. Like, McKinnon and McDavid can't outscore the Sabres right now. And those guys are leading the league. Like, that's how good the Sabres offense has been for the last 2 months. And defensively, they're right there. The Avs are 2.6. The Sabres are 2.7. The Oilers are 2.8. So, they're right in there. And I look at the Sabres, like, obviously they're getting very good goaltending. No question in that time. So I think Jarmo Kekalainen, like, he's probably looking to add something. They're not trading Alex Tuch. Like, there's no chance, right? Like, you're not going to get this close and then be like, well, we're not sure we can sign him. Like, I'll roll the dice if I have to, because you need the playoffs more than you need to sign, Alex Tuch to an extension, or you have to trade him.
Yeah. So I don't know what that trade deadline looks like for them, but all season long on every hockey show, everybody's been talking about the East being wide open. So no matter where Buffalo's at or where people believe they're at, inside that room and that management team, you have to look at what they're doing right now and just remind yourself that it's available. I mean, the path isn't that daunting for this team if they get in to go on a little bit of a run. So is this the year you add a piece? What does that piece look like? Maybe it's not the big sexy name out. Is there a big sexy name out there? I mean, there's Artemi Panarin, but you've got that in-house kind of what you're talking about with Alex Tuck. Maybe that's the addition, if you will, that you're just going to keep in Buffalo and just start kind of tweaking the lineup in some ways. But I mean, if you're talking about paths, there's no easy path, but the Eastern Conference, there's one team I'm scared about, and that's Tampa.
Yeah.
So that's the one. So, and chances are, because that same division, that they'll probably have to face Tampa potentially in round 2 or round 1. But after that, I mean, you might have a decent little path to the Stanley Cup Finals. So, yeah, I think that this is an interesting situation in Buffalo, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make some noise here before trade deadline.
What about the defending champs out east? They're 6 points out of the playoffs right now, behind. Now they do have 2 games in hand, but you know, they're going on another road trip here. They've still got 17 road games left in the season and 13 home games. Barkov doesn't look like it, doesn't sound like he's coming back in the regular season anyway. They just like Bobrovsky's save percentage is still like 875. He hasn't found a way to get better overall. What do you make of the Panthers? And like, what do you think Bill's like? Let's say they come back from the Olympic break in that first week and they find themselves on March 5th, 6 or 7 points out. Do you think they would consider moving out some players?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know where that magic number is. You mentioned a number right now in the 2 games at hand with Boston. That's something that I really think is a number to watch right now, because I like what Boston is doing. They've been playing pretty good brand of hockey for a little stretch here as well. I just feel like that's a team that would potentially come out of the mix. And the Florida Panthers, I'm not overly concerned with them right now, because when you talk about Boston, Montreal, I mean, you can say Tampa. I know that they're at a different level here, but in Buffalo, these teams in the Atlantic have all been on fire. But the problem is the Florida Panthers are only 6 points out. So with teams going 8-1-1 or 7-1-2 and, you know, 6-1-2 or whatever the numbers are, it hasn't buried them. And I just still think that they are alive here, and look out for the Florida Panthers. But that could change. That can change in the next few weeks. I mean, you're gonna have to get a better Sergei Bobrovsky. That's just plain and simple. But we've also seen Sergei Bobrovsky have some mediocre seasons, and at the right time of year, make the right save at the right time. So, I'm still in on them. I think they find a way to get in, but that certainly can change. But they're gonna have to go on a run though. Like, they're gonna have to go 5 of 6. They're gonna have to have a stretch. Maybe not 8-1-1 like some of these teams, but you're gonna have to make sure you're getting those overtime points. They're gonna have to start really banking points here before this potentially slips away.
Mike Rupp Jones is here on Sports 1440. Rupper, the Metro division, you've got Carolina. I don't have them as a cup contender, but they're clearly a playoff contender, no question. They're probably going to win the division. But then you got the Penguins, you got the Islanders, who just made 2 trades, right? They get Soucy and they got Palat. It's funny, like, you're trading with the Devils and the Rangers. What kind of universe we're going into, man? Your New York show is going to go up in smoke, because you guys are like, what the hell is going on here? But what do you make of those trades? You see those guys. Like, does Palat have anything left? Was he just in a bad situation there? And, maybe they're hoping to get some jump, because Shiplikov's a young player that, I think has some potential.
Yeah, so Siplikov came in. I really liked him in his first year over here with the Islanders, and he just lacks the consistency. And really, he's a player that needs to play higher in the lineup, higher than maybe a 4th line. And I don't think Patty Waugh loved that he was not predictable as far as putting him over the boards and knowing what you're going to get. So he was kind of in and out of the lineup and not really seeing a ton of minutes. So I don't know if those minutes are necessarily going to change in New Jersey, But New Jersey Devils need some help, I think, in the bottom six, or especially that fourth line. I mean, their third line looks pretty good right now. But yeah, you don't see these teams linking up here in the Metro New York area very often. But the Islanders won. I mean, going to get Carson Soucy, I mean, they've been trying to work in some depth defensemen in-house, whether that's Isaiah George, you've had Boquist, you've had a slew of different names that they've been working through there. But at the end of the day, their defensemen are getting 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes. Soucy averaged like 17 or so for the Rangers. He's not going to move the needle a ton, but he's a veteran. Like, if they need him to eat more minutes as a third pair, he can do that. He also can be out of lineup and come in and give you spot duty when you need it. So I like that move. And both those two moves for me are the types of moves you see teams do before they go into the playoffs. Depth pieces. Maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense right now, but you're just adding more bodies that are trustworthy, and you got to kind of build out the stable a little bit. Andre Plot, let's not forget about the history with Matthew Darche and him winning the Cups in Tampa. And Andre Plot his game fell off in New Jersey. When you win like that and how important that guy's been, I've talked to guys who played with him in Tampa and they love him. He's a locker room favorite. He's the type of player, a compass guy that you look to for such situations to navigate you through. I think this could revitalize him. I mean, I wouldn't say he's washed. I mean, Andre Plot of what it was in 2015 when he was part of that triplets line, yeah. But the guy's serviceable. He'll do whatever it takes. He's a good teammate. I think it's a nice ad. I don't know where he fits in, how he fits in, but you know what you're going to get out of him. And I think that's why the New York Islanders went out and got him.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like, you look at the Islanders, I still think they're probably going to try to add a forward here. And, I'll give Darche some credit, man. He's come in, he's made some moves. Some people question, the trade they made with Montreal. And, that trade so far has worked out really for both sides, which is what you want. Nobody always has to win the trade, right? I think we get too focused on winning. It's so far, Montreal's happy with the trade. I think the Islanders are happy with the trade. Now, the Islanders are definitely, I don't know if they thought or they knew Schaefer was going to be this good, but he's obviously made that trade much easier to stomach. No question about it. I want to get your thoughts lastly on you look at the offensive numbers that we're seeing from some guys. You talked about it. You were the first one, almost like early December when you said, man, I really like McDavid and McKinnon to go on this, real battle. But Kucherov has said, hey, wait a sec. Right? Hey, I'm now, he's been a 2-point a game guy since December 1st. He hasn't made up any ground because Connor McDavid is also a 2-point a game guy. It's wild. Like, Kucherov has come out of nowhere and he got to third. I'm just not sure he can make up any more ground because the other guys were too far ahead. And right now it's point for point, him and McDavid. Not that McKinnon's falling behind by any stretch of the imagination, but he's slightly below 2. Like, it's hard to make up 12 points on McDavid if you're Kucherov.
I mean, that's what was so impressive with what McDavid did, kind of making up the points or getting some separation for a little bit there on McKinnon. Because how do you get a separation from a guy who any given night can have 4, 3, 2 points? Like, it seems like every night you're having those types of nights for the Avs and Nathan McKinnon. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to get back into it fully with those two. But I'll tell you this much: while you're naming those, I wouldn't put Kucherov in this category because it was a little bit of a slower start in his regard, as far as how the season went and how it started in Tampa. Yeah. But I don't know. All of a sudden, we're sitting here thinking about the Hart Trophy race, and we've talked about Macklin Celebrini and what he means, and if that team could get in, like, he's not surprising anybody in that conversation. I still think there was a lot of people that said this is Nathan McKinnon's. I mean, right now, as we sit here today, I think my in order would be Celebrini, I go McDavid, and I go McKinnon. But here's the kicker, who's starting to enter the conversation for me. If you want to dig into some numbers, let's go back to the New York Islanders. What Ilya Sorokin is doing right now, it's more impressive to me than what Connor Hellebuck did last season when he won.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. His goal save above expected is almost at 50, 5-0. is what this guy's doing. So I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if this New York Islanders team can finish second in the Metro, I think you all of a sudden just catapult Ilya Sorokin in there, and he's right in the thick of it here with Celebrini, McDavid, McKinnon. I mean, it's fun. I love more guys that can get in that conversation, the better. But we got some good ones in there right now. Nikita Kucherov probably just going to be too little, too late. But what he's doing right now is spectacular, and he's got the best team in the East.
You know what? You're bang on about Sorokin because now I'm a voter. And I was arguing with lots of guys about why do you have Hellebuck in? He had one of the best environments of any goalie in the NHL. Kevin Woodley's a goalie guy. And he even admitted, man, like he would have had Kemper as the Vezina guy because Kemper's environment was way harder and he had virtually identical numbers for the Vezina. I thought Hellebuck winning the Hart last year was a joke, to be honest. It didn't make any sense to me. And so, the Sorokin numbers are way better than Hellebuck because his environment is not nearly as safe. So that's a good point. And, there's lots of guys. Celebrini, the Sharks come to town here tomorrow. He just had another 4-point game for the kid. And, he'll probably be like, hey, I might be playing against my new teammate. So I want to have a good game against my new line mate even.
Oh, God, I hope so. I hope so, Greg. I hope those two play together.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Rupper, always good to chat with you, buddy. We'll talk to you Friday on the Rundown.
Awesome, Greg. Thanks. Enjoy.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. Yes. Sorokin, to me, is he's really separated himself in the Vezina. He's had a phenomenal year. We'll return. Speaking of star players, there's a few of them. There's some great storylines. We've talked a lot about playoff races and teams that you thought, well, geez, I didn't think they were going to be in it. We'll talk about a team that has done something that no team in the history of sport in NBA, MLB, or the NHL has done. We'll talk about it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhauk beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhauk beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Happy New Year. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for everything in 2025. With your help and your support, we fed almost 500 families. We donated to various charities in the Edmonton area, and we're going to do it again in 2026. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton sports fans stay informed
With Sports 1440. Stream us.
Listen to us on the AM dial.
However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Comes once a year.
Aw, Valentine's Day.
What? No, from the top. It only comes once a year.
Oh, here we go. The Rock and Bowl Super Party, only at On the Rocks.
Join host Ryan Jesperson on Sunday, February 8th.
At OTR for the biggest football party in Edmonton.
Your $30 ticket includes
all-you-can-eat buffet, commemorative t-shirts, prepaid Miller Lights, and entry to all prizes, including
$1,000 cash.
The Rock and Bowl Super Party.
Only at On the Rocks.
Book your table today.
OnTheRocksYEG.com.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. for a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
$2:48. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. And lately, we're seeing a lot of things in sports that we've never seen before. In games, the Edmonton Oilers, back-to-back hat tricks by defensemen, never happened in NHL history before. 4 goals in 349, all by defensemen, never happened that quick before. The Buffalo Sabres, the hottest team in the NHL for 2 months. Well, technically, we have seen that before. They did win the President's Trophy back in 2007, I think it was, but then they missed the playoffs the next year. But there's lots of things going on in sports, which is great. It's why I've always said, you want reality TV, watch sports. Unpredictable, you don't know what's going on, and it's great. As we get to our basketball report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. And the host of Hoop City, Paul Sir. Of course, you can listen in every Saturday here on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as watch him on YouTube, talking all things basketball. And the LA Clippers have done something that no one in the NBA, MLB, or NHL have ever done. They went 3-16, and then they went 16-3. It's wild, Paul. Absolutely wild.
It is wild. And to have that kind of a turnaround, I think the expectations for the Clippers were reasonably high this year. They've got great players. If they can stay healthy, they should be competitive. Unbelievably horrific start. All of a sudden, they're a team you just do not want to play. Kawhi, I think really what I would say, he's had some decent years, but this is the best he's played since he was a Raptor, in my opinion. And I almost like the older James Harden better than the younger one because he's more under control and he's less prone to just taking games over. And he really is an amazing distributor. And they're getting contributions from a variety of players. They believe. We always knew they were well coached. So, the 3-16 start, Jason, didn't make sense, but equally so, like you say, and I personally think we have been seeing things recently that I've never seen before in my long lifetime in a variety of sports. And this is a real pleasant surprise among many in the NBA.
OKC has, they're still 7-3, but because they were off to such a ridiculous start, everyone's like, oh my God, now there's problems. They're still 38-10. I don't see any issues on OKC. Do you?
No. I mean, they've had injuries. They're 38-10. To call that a problem, everybody else wants that problem. To have that as being now, are they as dominant? I mean, the record says no. Are they as I think everybody after the first 25 games just said, why even play the rest of the season? This team's just going to roll everybody, set the new regular season wins, roll through the playoffs. That isn't the case anymore, but that's good for basketball. And it's actually good for OKC as well, because now they're having to battle through adversity, because it really felt like in the first 6 weeks of the season, Jason, everybody was just laying over when OKC came to town and they were just rolling everybody. Not the case anymore. And the emergence of other teams and then the surging of the Clippers and a couple of other teams as well, it's making for, I think, a real nice midseason adjustment in the league.
Toronto Raptors. Here we
There's
are.
one of them.
Fourth place in the East. They're tied actually for third with the Knicks, but obviously
Right.
divisions. You know, they've got the same amount of wins as the Celtics too. They play 2 more games, and so they have 2 extra losses at this point. You look at the Raptors. They just went on the West Coast trip and did very well in some really tough places, including winning in OKC. Scotty Barnes defensively, Paul, has been outstanding. Did you expect him to be this dominant defensively?
I don't know if I expected him to be this dominant, but I certainly, you could see the potential when he came into the league, that he had all the tools to be a great defender. You just didn't know quite, because he was so young, how to measure his heart. But that's also very big. And man, I mean, he's a first team all NBA defender this year. Like he can bother people. He bothered Shea the other night, like really bothered him. And he's an elite defender. And I also what I admire as much as anything about Scotty's game, once again, he's one of a newer group of players that is less concerned about volume of points and shots and more about doing the right thing in the moment. I think you see that in players like the rookie Cooper Flagg. LeBron James, I think, to me, the greatest attribute in his career has been his willingness to share the ball at key moments, even though he's been criticized at times for not being assertive enough. Scotty's that kind of player. And then the health of the team, the addition of Ingram, certainly, and now quickly, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, deservedly so. Raptors are in a nice spot, and that's without Jakob Poeltl being able to contribute. So kind of a long, winding answer to your question. Scotty's a great defender. I think he's exceeding expectations, but he's part of a very good, balanced Eastern Conference threatening team now in the Toronto Raptors.
Do you think the Raptors would look to add any specific type of player by the deadline?
I just did my weekly blog today, and I talked about the success of the Raptors, Jason, to your point. And then I said, but this leads us into the dreaded trade deadline next week. I don't know if they're looking to add players. They do need to add shooting, or Grady Dick, I think in particular, to shine a spotlight on one player, has to become more of a threat. And I'm not sure if that's him or the coaches or the team still trying to find their way. I think he's capable of being much more of a contributor as a shooter than he presently is, but they do need to shoot the ball better. That is a somewhat glaring weakness. Right. The problem the Raptors have is salary cap stuff next year. And so are they going to mess with their lineup and, do something for Quickly and or RJ? Is Jakob Poeltl on the table? There have been some rumblings about Sabonis being available from Sacramento. I don't know. I don't know that they need to add anything. I'd sure like to see this team play it out, especially if they stay healthy. But I don't know if projecting down the road, the cap issues are going to enter into their decision making right now before the deadline, and they try to pull something off.
It will be fascinating to me what happens. Quickly on the local scene, Paul, give me a quick wrap up of what's going on University and ACAC.
Bears, Pandas, tough as nails. Really good basketball teams. Bears, talk about exceeding expectations. Jeff Pippa's first-year coach, way beyond where we thought they'd be. They're playing a tougher schedule in the second half, so they're going to have some losses. But they're still playing well, and they're still getting better. Scotty Edwards' team, they lost 2 heartbreakers to the number 1 team in the country, deservedly so, the defending champ, University of Saskatchewan, Lisa Tomaitis-led Huskies. But Pandas they're a genuine threat for the national championship this year. They went to Regina, did really well last weekend. McEwen beat Calgary.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Number 1, it's great for McEwen. Number 2, it's even greater that it was Calgary. That's the best part to me. To heck with McEwen winning. Beat Calgary. That's good. ACAC, Nate, both men's and women's, tough. A lot of good women's teams in the ACAC as well. So I think our post-secondary basketball in the city is in a real good spot. I really do. And you know what? High school basketball is too. Number 1 ranked team in the province, St. Francis Xavier. Have they got it going at SFX? Holy smokes. Jeremy Pastorero and his folks have built a phenomenal program in the West End. And you want to see a good team play? Watch SFX. They're good. They're a good high school basketball team.
Nice. Good to hear, buddy. Awesome stuff. Paul, what's coming up on the show on Saturday?
I can't wait. Go back in the weeds with Ben Golliver. Ben from the Washington Post will come in, and because you do this all the time every day, Jason. When you get in, you're in the locker room, but when you're bringing people that are on the ice in the locker room, they see it on a daily basis. They know how it smells, feels, and how it's unfolding. So Ben's going to come in, and we'll really, really get into the NBA. I'm trying to get an NCAA guest on. Last weekend, Kevin Lehman from the Missouri Valley Conference, we talked a lot about the impact on college basketball with NIL and the transfer portal, and what an insane madhouse it is right now. But man, the other night Arizona played BYU on TV, and I don't know how you could enjoy a basketball game more than that. March Madness, both men and women, is going to be great this year. And so this weekend we'll dive into it.
Awesome stuff, Paul. We appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
Likewise, Jason. You take care.
It's Paul Sir, host of Hoop City, right here on Sports 1440 every Saturday from 10 until noon. If you're a basketball fan, even if you're not, that's a great show. I would highly recommend checking it out. Coming up after 3 o'clock, we will talk a little bit more. Should there be any concern about Matthias Ekholm? I don't think so, but we'll get to the 2-minute warning. Jason Smith will be by. We also have Neil Sheehy, Rich Winter, joining us today in the business of sports. Should be a fun little trip down memory lane to start. Those Battle of Alberta, Sheehy. Honestly, when I look back and the guy who could really not only irritate Gretzky, but the whole city, people hated Sheehy, and I get why. I totally understand it. So we'll talk about that. But he's done a lot with the NHLPA, and got a law degree and got a neuroscience degree. So a pretty smart dude. So we'll talk to him about many things coming up in the business of sports. Beck and Yaremchuk as well. But first, let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Can meet all your car needs and more with their digital video vehicle report. They don't have to tell you what your car needs. They will show you. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Some news from Oilers practice today. Matthias Ekholm listed as day-to-day, according to head coach Chris Novlaki. Is questionable play tomorrow against the San Jose Sharks. On the ice, there's 3 games: Islanders, Rangers, Flyers, and Columbus in the Sens. Hosting the Avalanche in the Association. Toronto Raptors will host the next tip-off 5:30. Also got the Lakers and the Cavs, Celtics, Hawks, Magic taking on the Heat, Jazz and the Warriors, and the Spurs in Houston. Giannis Antetokounmpo is prepping to be moved from Milwaukee ahead of the February 5th trade deadline. He's been with Milwaukee since being drafted 15th overall back in 2013. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are in action down in Calgary, taking on the Hitmen. That starts just after 7. In the PWHL, you've got 4 games tonight: Toronto and Montreal, Ottawa hosting Seattle, New York taking on Boston, and Vancouver meets Minnesota. From the NFL, Todd Monken has been named the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, their 11th since 1999. He spent the last couple seasons with the Ravens as their offensive coordinator. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear Cam Page's 2-minute warning, ask 5 questions, and be joined by Jason Smith from Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado,
There's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community.
And
Alberta's
Instagram.
best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Shoulder pain. It can make even the simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Five-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design, build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair. They'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.306. Lovely Wednesday afternoon. Oilers were back on the ice. No Matthias Ekholm today, if you're just joining us. He is day-to-day and will be, he's questionable. But I just looked at how they ran their defense pairings. The fact that Regula played with Bouchard suggested, A, it isn't that serious. Because I think otherwise, this is your only practice. If you were pretty worried that he might not play, wouldn't you practice someone else with Bouchard? Because there's no chance Regula's playing with Bouchard. I think we can all agree on that. You're not going to play two righties together. It makes no sense. Not when you have, three lefties. So you're already playing Stastny on the right side. Wallman on the right side. So you have Wallman, Nurse, and Stastny for 3 lefties if you need. And then Regula's not going to come in and play at Bouchard. So the fact that it was Regula with Bouchard at practice tells me actions always speak louder than words, and that it was, it's probably less of a concern long term. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can always text us, email us, Gregor at sports1440.ca. We are going to get to Chris Knobloch in a bit, get his thoughts on a few things, as the Oilers will face the surging San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks, similar to the Ducks, they'll give up a lot, but they can score. Specifically, Macklin Celebrini. But the San Jose Sharks on the season have allowed the third most goals in the NHL. The Ducks are at 3.55, their second most, and then the Sharks are at 3.43. So you'll get some chances to score if you're the Edmonton Oilers. And then the Oilers, of course, are third in goals per game at 3.44. So 3.75 since the start of December. So they've been better. And it's always a great, like when you look at teams, and really all you got to do is look at Buffalo. Like what you do in October and November, the longer the season goes, the less it's relevant. Like how it's relevant is the points you earn or don't earn. But really how you're playing doesn't matter much if it doesn't continue positively or negatively. If you're a bad team, but you turn it around, well, all the bad start did is make you have to work a little bit harder. So I kind of look at the Oilers, and, I kind of broke it down in their I just got to find the numbers because I did it in like 2 months, right? There's October, November, and then there is December and January. And since December 1st, the Oilers are 8th in points, 3rd in goals for, 9th in goals against, 1st in the power play, 19th on the penalty kill, 4th in shots per game, and 19th in shots against. Now, if you look at the first 2 months of the season, that's not good, right? Comparatively, right? They were a team that struggled in, well, almost every facet, I guess, except the power play. Their power play has been pretty solid all year long. But if you look at the Oilers in the first 2 months, they were 12th in offense, which isn't awful, but still they were 12th. They were 30th in goals against. Right, that's where the big improvement comes, which we've talked about for years in Edmonton. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, the Oilers need more offense. The Oilers need more defense. Right, their power play in the first 2 months was 30%. 0.2 below Pittsburgh for second place. Their penalty kill was actually better in the first 2 months of the season, and it wasn't great. It was 18th, and since then it's been 19th, so slightly better. But the Oilers, their PK actually from December 1st up until the last few games is actually doing pretty well. But then they just kind of hit the skids here where they allow 3 power play goals to the Ducks last game. 2 of them just from bad clearing attempts. You had possession. Bouchard didn't have as much time. Nurse had a lot of time. Like Nurse is ringing around the boards in that penalty kill. It didn't make much sense. So obviously their goaltending numbers were way worse in the first 2 months of the season than they are now. So Edmonton has been trending in the direction that you want. And now it'll be, when we get into the end of April, kind of how you played in December, how you playing even January. It's how are you playing for the most part going into the playoffs. And then even then it kind of changes because the game is somewhat different. And we've seen that. You watched it. Like the Oilers in the playoffs are infinitely more physical than they are in the regular season. And that changes things. You pressure the opposition. You're more emotionally engaged. And I'm still a believer that Edmonton's at its best when they're more emotionally engaged, right? And so if you have Hyman on one line, you have Pod Coles, and you've got Kaplan, you got some guys who are physical. Trent Frederick, like they got to hope that Trent Frederick can be Connor Brown playoff to regular season Connor Brown. And that's the same thing for Frederick. Like find a way, who knows, maybe the 3-week break will allow him to get away and just start over, right? Like that's if I was them, my message would be, Trent, go away and come on back. And it's a whole new start for you. Because we can't change by that time. It'll be 58 games? You can't change those 58 games. So don't worry about it. Come back and just focus on, can I have a solid 24 games? That's the only way to do it. I don't think you can approach it any other way if you're Trent Frederick. And the only good news is that it can only go up from there. So let's get to 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Of course, Cam, born with cerebral palsy, is in wheelchairs, never let him slow him down. And he's always wanted to be on radio. Now his words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Ah, yes. Welcome, dear listeners, to the inaugural and quite possibly final edition of Wordsmith Wednesday. A segment so ambitious, so intellectually daring, it may well collapse under the weight of its own verbosity. But, as they say, fortune favors the bold, or at least the mildly reckless. Today, we turn our gaze to one William Stephen Belichick, a man whose visage suggests he's been perpetually marinating in a stew of existential dread and bad coffee. The hoodie-clad curmudgeon, the architect of 6 Super Bowl victories, and, let us not forget, the patron saint of sideline skullduggery. Spygate, Deflategate, Bengalsgate. Honestly, the man's career has more gates than Buckingham Palace. And yet, here we are, debating whether this grumpy Gandalf of the gridiron deserves a first-ballot induction into the Hall of Fame. The voters, in their infinite wisdom, or perhaps infinite pettiness, have said no. A rebuke, they claim, to a stained legacy. Stained indeed. But let us not pretend the Hall of Fame is a monastery of moral purity. It's more like a rogues gallery of talent, where the line between genius and scoundrel is as thin as Belichick's patience during a post-game presser. We ran a poll. 80% of you said yes, let the man in. 20% said no, keep him out. Democracy in action, folks. But here's my take. If you cheat once, you're a rascal. Cheat twice, you're a scoundrel. Cheat 3 times? Well, now you're just showing off. And yet, there's something almost endearing about Belichick's grumpiness, his refusal to pander, his steadfast commitment to looking like he just lost a fight with a laundromat. So, Coach Hoodie, how does it feel to be snubbed? Grumpy, one would assume. But take heart. History has a way of forgiving its villains, especially the ones who win. And if not, well, there's always next year. Or the year after that. Or the year after that. And that, dear listeners, is your Wordsmith Wednesday. Until next time, if there is a next time, keep your words sharp and your hoodies sharper. The 2-minute warring, Gregor Haley Kruger, I'll get to you tomorrow. Upon further review. And me, I am Tater, all together at Sports 1440.
Oh, he's put Declan off 2 days in a row, Connor. Oof. Must be building up something big. Something real big. So, hoodie-clad curmudgeon, legendary. That was a good line. Hopefully Tater's not listening. We don't want to give him too much credit, but that was a pretty good line. Pretty good line. So, yeah, a lot. Like I said yesterday, like I don't know. There's lots of things I'll get fired up about. I can't feign interest in whether Bill Belichick's in the Hall of Fame this year or next year. Right? I don't know why. It doesn't rile me up that much. I've seen lots of players who I thought should get in and they took a lot longer to get in. At the end of the day, it didn't matter. They're in. Like I've said, no one walks around saying, hey, so-and-so's in the Hall of Fame. He was a first balloter. He was a second balloter. Right? No one even remembers. I'm sure there's lots of great players we could go through that. Oh, they got in their second year of eligibility, third year of eligibility, and you still think they're awesome. So, I don't know. But when I look at things in sports to get me fired up, I can't get fired up about somebody who's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why. I can't.
Gregor, when you look at Antonio Gates career-wise, would you say first ballot Hall of Fame? Most touchdowns?
Antonio Gates?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a pretty dominant player.
You'd probably say first ballot.
He wasn't, though, was he?
He wasn't. No, he had a failed drug test. And I think that the voters for him said the same thing. We're going to make you wait a year.
Yeah.
Because you look at his resume, he's first ballot without a doubt.
Yeah.
So it's not totally, unknown. Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, no doubt about it. 8 Super Bowls. It's a bigger deal, especially with that report that came out that Bill Polian has denied. But if we're looking at it.
I do want to say one thing about Bill Polian.
Mhm.
So originally he came out and said he denied it. Then there was the quote where he said, well, I can't remember who I voted for. I'm like, wait a second. As somebody who votes for a Hall of Fame for the Oilers Ring of Honor, now maybe they use a different system, but I have to submit a private. It's not like you vote in public. They say, okay, everybody's around the table. This guy's name you put up, yay or nay. That's not how it works, right? It is private, and you submit your votes. This is the exact same system that the Hockey Hall of Fame uses. Now, I don't know what the Football Hall of Fame uses, but I'd be surprised if it was raise your hand, yes or no in public. I could be wrong. So I have to send an email to this firm. Now, it's to a private law firm that takes it very serious, right? So I know who I voted for. You can easily check your sent emails. It's not hard. So that was the one part I was like, Bill, I can't remember who I voted for. Just admit, if you didn't, you know what? If you didn't vote for him, why not just explain why? Because there's a lot of people to be like, yeah, you know what? Hey, I felt like when you cheat, you're not deserving of being a first balloter. You could be a second balloter. Would anybody really have a problem with that? Did he cheat? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to say as a voter, you know what? For me, I think that's worthy of not getting a vote the first time through. I'm just sending a small message. At the end of the day, it's not going to change much because I would put him in because I think he's deserving of it. I just didn't think he was deserving of it the first time around. Who could be opposed to that? Did he cheat? Yes or no? Yes. So why can't he be held accountable for that? And don't tell me because he got fined that he was held accountable. That's one way to be held accountable. There's different ways to be held accountable. So
I do like the Polian line. 95% sure I did not conspire against Bill Belichick. It's 5% chance I did. But what? I'm flip-flopping. I think he's guilty. I think he did conspire now. You're not 100% sure.
And honestly, why not just say you did? If you want to say, hey, because to me, I'd have no problem saying, guys, this is where I stand. I think he's worthy of being a Hall of Famer, but the Hall of Fame is a prestigious place. And a slight penalty would be because he cheated, it wasn't like he cheated every year, right? There's no record of that, so I can't claim that he did. Right? And even the Spygate, did it impact the game? I can't say for certain. Is that fair? Because we can't say for certain that it impacted the game.
Yeah, you could argue it.
Right? It might have, but we don't know to what level.
It helped for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, okay. That's where I come out on it. But, people are going to be, I see they're all fired up about it. Great. But, I look at things in sports that I would like to change. To me, that's not even on a list of top 100. Right. At the end of the day, you watch the Hall of Fame ceremony and it's great, but it's kind of done. So when we come back, Chris Knobloch get his update on Matthias Ekholm. Also, we'll hear from Jason Smith next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vinny and Donnan have to offer. Visit vinnyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing.
Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interest of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared. There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Here she come now, Money.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order when you use promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
3:27. Lovely Wednesday afternoon. How you doing? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. Making it through a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Late night in the National Hockey League tonight. Only 3 games, but big slate of games tomorrow. 15. Then 1 on Friday, 14 on Saturday. As we get to the final week before the Olympic break. And many of the league's best players, not all, will be heading over to Milan. Others will be heading to various places for some relaxation. And most teams, the first day you're eligible to come back, I think, is the 18th. And, depending on how many days teams are going to skate and practice, whatever. But so they will get a full 2-week break. And then that's when teams will have players come back and then start skating. And then the season will resume on the 24th of February with a boatload of games getting going right then. I think there's like 8 and then 12. And so everybody's right back into it. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. 53 years now. They've grown into one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta. 4 divisions and projects, service, testing, and solar and projects. They do design, build, switchgear replacements, new constructions, and renovations. ActionElectrical.net. Host here on Sports 1440. It's really for Fox Sports, but of course, we simulcast a show every night. Jason Smith joins us. And Jason, there's lots to discuss. We'll go kind of around the board and touching all the sports. But give me your thoughts first of all. No team's ever done what the Clippers have done. They went 3-16, then they went 16-3. Like that is the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, they are. Well, they're 500, right? This is kind of who they are. All this to get to 500. Like it's like they're like the hamsters, just spinning the wheel. Sometimes you spin the wheel great. Hey, that's awesome. Sometimes you spin the wheel slow, but in the end, you're right back where you started. So they're 500.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of wild, though, right? Absolutely wild to see a team like it looked like they were just done, absolutely cooked, and then they finally like, oh well, maybe we still are okay. And some of their old guys are playing great. Kawhi Leonard's playing great. James Harden's playing great. Like I don't know if the West is pretty deep, so I don't know if they can go very far. But the way they're playing lately, suddenly it's like, geez, they get in the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah, here's the thing though with the Clippers, and this is where I come back to. Like it's great right now, right? It's great right now, but here we are in January, and they're playing great, which they should be. But when you build your team around a bunch of guys in their mid-30s, what's going to happen when you get to the playoffs? They're going to have nothing left, right? That's why the Clippers continue to build around Kawhi and James Harden. They think when the playoffs come, things are going to be different. When the playoffs come, guys get old fast. It's a long grind, whether you play in 65 is the new 82. When you're playing 65 games or not, by the time you get there, guys are tired. James Harden will play well for about 3 quarters, then he'll get tired in the 4th quarter. Like the Clippers needed, they continue to try to make this work with Leonard and Harden. It's like, yeah, okay, middle of the season, yeah, these guys are rolling. Yeah, when you get to April, come see me again and see how they're playing and see if we get in the playoffs against a younger team if they still look the same way. It's a really tough thing to do.
Yeah, well, it is. And when you look at the NBA, do you see a big trade coming? Like, is Giannis actually going to get traded?
100%. 100%. I feel like the best NBA insider in the world because when the whispers were there, right? All last offseason, potentially he wanted out. The Knicks were the fit, but they couldn't figure out a deal. And I'm sure the Knicks said, hey, we have a new coach coming in, want to see to make it work with Karl Anthony Towns if something changes and something can happen. But now here you get into the beginning of the season, and his agent is talking about, I talked with the Bucks about potential fits. Is this the right place for him? So you could tell Giannis was starting to make the break, right? Like it's the big breakup that is not happening in one fell swoop, but it's happening a little bit at a time. Like we're getting used to it. And then 2 things happened 2 weeks ago. In a game where the Bucks were getting booed mercilessly, Giannis gets an end one, and sitting on the ground, he boos the fans. Like that was a moment where I knew he's done. This is his moment where he's letting us know I am done in Milwaukee and I am moving on. No one boos their own fans, right? That's crossing a Rubicon that you don't come back from. Then 2 days later, just to make sure you understand that wasn't a moment of frustration, I'm going to rip my entire team for not trying hard, not playing well, not doing what they need to do, and it's over, right? So he's done that now in the span of a week, and this is what stars have to do in the NBA. They have to tell you, I want out. This is no longer tenable. Because if you don't say that, teams are going to keep you because they're still selling tickets. They're not going to, all right, we're not going to get better than the star we have right now. Maybe we can make things turn around. You have to want out, and you have to say it. And it's crappy that that's where you have to go, but that's the world we live in. So now Giannis does both of those things, and then the really bad loss the other night against the Nuggets where Jokic didn't play, Jamal Murray didn't play, Kiki Vandeweghe didn't play, Kelly Tripucka didn't play. None of these guys, and they lost that game, and his body language was terrible. You knew he was going to be out, and he's going to get dealt. And I'll tell you this, it's either going to be the Knicks or the Warriors. That's where he's going, because those are the two teams that are desperate enough to make those trades, that have the assets to make it work, right? The Knicks have been benching Karl Anthony Towns the last couple of nights down the stretch, right? Yeah. Now, a couple games ago, it was foul trouble. Last night, he didn't close. They needed to win against Sacramento. Mike Brown said, we needed to win this game, right? They hadn't been playing great. We needed to win. Karl Anthony Towns is on the bench. Well, guess what? Karl Anthony Towns is a talented player. You can't have him and Jalen Brunson on the floor at the same time. Defensively, it's terrible. But you see how the Knicks play without Karl Anthony Towns. They close the games. They can make it work with him. With another player, they can make the money work, and they can get a couple of good players back, and the Knicks get Giannis. Or it's the Warriors, who have the young talent, a guy like Jonathan Kuminga they can trade. They have the first-round picks the next couple of years they can deal. These are the two teams that are the most desperate that can pull off the Giannis trade. And honestly, the Warriors might be more desperate because whereas the Knicks can look back and say, well, maybe another trade might help us a little bit better because it clearly looks like they're going to move on from Karl Anthony Towns. For the Warriors, it's what else are we going to do? Like Steph is 37, right? There's not a lot. There's no much more we can do right now. We lost Jimmy Butler for the season, so the Warriors might actually be the more desperate team. So I would honestly say the Warriors probably would be the favorites to get him, but I'd say it's a two-team race unless someone blows them out of the water. Knicks or the Warriors, that's who's getting Giannis.
What happened to Towns in New York? Because last year it seemed like it was all going good.
Yeah, it went well for a while. And then defensively, teams started to exploit the Knicks and they went from being this great defensive team under Tom Thibodeau, and all of a sudden they couldn't stop anybody. And now they have to outscore everyone. And they have the offense to do it, right? They brought in Anunoby and Bridges, and and obviously Brunson's a top 5 player in the league. But that 1A, you really need that big, and they thought he's going to be our guy. And offensively, it's great, but defensively, having them both on the floor, it's. You look at what happens to the Knicks sometimes. I'm like, this is not the team that they were even 8 months ago. And Mike Brown comes in, and he's got a great defensive acumen as a coach. So I was excited about that. But then watching him, it's the same thing. They're running into the same problems. It's the same thing happening. And now that he's being benched, you can see the writing on the wall. Where if it's not Giannis, it's going to be somebody else. And they tried, and I think they might have pulled the trigger at the end of last year. But I'm sure they thought, well, let's bring in Mike Brown. Let's get a different voice in. Maybe he can unlock something that Tibbs didn't. And the Knicks won the IST. They won the tournament in Vegas. And you thought, okay, they're just going to roll from here on. But now, as you see, we get into January in the middle of the season, and the same problems are there. So I mean, it's hard because a talented offensive player, really good, but you can just see the fit with him overall. They're still trying to figure it out. If you're still trying to figure something out a year and a half into something, are you ever really going to? So it sucks because he came in, he was going to be the Brunson's guy, and we were going to win a championship, but now it looks like it's going to be somebody else.
Jason Smith joins us from Fox Sports. Jason, the hoodie. Hey, man, he was always a topic of conversation. Who knew that a guy was hated by everybody? He was now suddenly everybody's so like, oh, my God, he's not going to get in on his first ballot. And Connor Halley here brought up a good point that, hey, Antonio Gates, dominant tight end. When he was eligible, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Did he get in on the first ballot? No, because he got caught cheating. And people thought that, hey, maybe there was a slight little delay. I personally don't have an issue with it if it's true. And that's the reason. Where do you come out on it?
Well, the thing is, there's two conversations, and this is what people keep getting lost in, is that the conversation is Bill Belichick a first ballot Hall of Famer? Absolutely, 100%. I've said he's first ballot Hall of Famer. But I can't believe people are surprised that he didn't get in. I didn't expect him to get in because I know you have 20 years of Spygate, Deflategate, treating the media with disdain, which, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of voters said, I'm sick of him treating me like a jerk in press conferences. This is where I get even with him. Now, you can agree or disagree whether you think that's right, holding him out for Spygate, holding him out for Deflategate, holding him out for that. But I knew that was going to happen. Like, this is not something where suddenly, hey, we just broad brush this Spygate thing, and brush it away like Roger Goodell tried to do. I destroyed the evidence. Like, think about that. I mean, think about the world. If a commissioner now said, yeah, I destroyed the evidence. Wait a minute, this is a big cheating scandal. You destroyed everything? Yeah, I destroyed it. Oh, okay, that's really not cool, but that's what happened. So there's a lot of people, I'm sure, who think that he didn't get the punishment he was supposed to get, and this is a result of it. Same thing with the Astros and the punishment they didn't get from Rob Manfred. This is where they're holding Bill Belichick responsible. Now, I'm sure he's going to get in. I'm sure he'll get in next year. This is a one-year thing, which honestly, that's the sucky part to me, because if a voter made their vote public and said, listen, I had a big problem with Spygate. I can't put a cheater in the Hall of Fame. This is remember, Spygate was a really big deal, big black eye for the league. The Patriots were getting a lot of benefit from it, or they wouldn't have been doing it to the extent that they did. I have a problem with that. Great. I get it, man. Hey, we're keeping the steroid guys out of the Hall of Fame. The Astros, Beltran getting in the Hall of Fame was a really big deal, and I'm surprised that they let him in after that time. But if you say I'm never going to vote for him, I get it. But if you say, well, I'm going to do it for a year, he's in next year, like, what are you doing? Like, the guy's a Hall of Famer or he's not. Like, your vote is to say, hey, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. It's not, well, here's what I want to do with his Hall of Fame candidacy. That's really not your job. So, and that's the thing, is that I would like it to be, hey, if you didn't vote for him now, you're not voting for him. But I'm sure he will get in next year, especially after all this controversy. I'm sure he gets in next year.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt that he is. But there's lots of guys who don't get in the first year, right? But they're still Hall of Famers, right? Like, that's the thing. I could probably list off 10 players, and I would say, and it's my job, I don't know who's a first or second balloter for most guys. Yeah. And honestly, I don't think it matters.
Well, if you're talking about the veterans who are going in, because he's getting voted on alongside L.C. Greenwood and Bob Kraft and Roger Craig. Like, okay, no coach in the history of the NFL has the resume that Bill Belichick does. What he's won, 6 Super Bowls, 8 Super Bowls total. Yeah, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, if he's not, like, what is? But I get the cheating part of it, and unfortunately, that's part of his legacy. That's part of his resume. The Spygate, the Deflategate. Now, Deflategate was not that big a deal, as it turned out to be. However, it's like that line from Top Gun where Stinger tells Maverick, your name ain't the best in the business. You got to be doing it better and cleaner than everybody else. Like, you can't get caught with Spygate and then a couple of years later, oh, yeah, Deflategate. No, it can't. The same team can't be doing it, because now I'm wondering, what else are you doing? What else have you been doing? Because clearly if Spygate was something that didn't stop you from it, now Deflategate's not. So what else are you doing? There's so much mystery out there with it. And that hurt Belichick, too, because I think not knowing exactly what we got, because Goodell destroyed the evidence for Spygate, and Deflategate kind of came and they punished Brady and they moved on, and Brady broke his phone and threw it away. Because of that mystery, I think that also hurt Belichick, because if we knew exactly what they did, that's going to allow a lot of voters to say, okay, this is what they did. Yeah, you know what? If that's what it was, yeah, okay, I can see that. It's okay. I can let him in the Hall of Fame. But when you don't know, and you think it's a pretty big deal, I can see why people voted the way they did. I'm surprised that people were surprised that he didn't get in the way he did the first time.
Jason Smith joins us. Looking at the Super Bowl, when you see...
Do I have to? Do we have to? This is the worst Super Bowl ever.
Well, you think the Seahawks are just going to spank them, or what?
No, as a Jets fan, I have to watch the Patriots and Sam Darnold, the guy we drafted number 3 overall and kicked out. Now, he stunk with us. Let's not make it seem like, hey, Darnold, this wasn't Darnold with the Vikings last year where he threw 35 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. The Vikings still said, yeah, no, thanks. We should focus more on that. No, Darnold sucked. But now I got to watch a team, my biggest rival in the division that always beats us, completely revamp their team in a year, hire a new head coach just like we did, go from 4-13 to the Super Bowl while we're firing all our assistants, and who knows what's happening. And then I got to see Sam Darnold, the other guy that we let out that was supposed to be our savior, that could have been our quarterback now, and maybe we would have gotten to a Super Bowl had we able to deal and put the right system around him. I got to watch this Super Bowl. And the thing is, this is the worst one ever. And I thought the Giants and the Patriots a few years ago was bad because I want the Giants to win, but this is worse because it's so personal. And I keep thinking I'm going to side with the Seahawks, right? I can't root for the Patriots. So as a fan, I'm going to side with the Seahawks. Then I think, how am I going to feel watching Sam Darnold hold up the Lombardi trophy and most likely the MVP trophy as well for the game? How am I going to feel seeing that as a fan? And then I go back to saying, well, maybe the Patriots winning again. I've seen them win 6 times. What's one more time? Like, this is worst Super Bowl ever, man. It's absolutely, it's so hard for me to talk about.
when you look at Sam Darnold, it's to me, it's a great example. It's a great example of how the NFL, rushes lots of guys, puts all the emphasis on one play. Like it's not like he lost with a great supporting cast around him and the quarterback was terrible and everybody else was great. Now, I'm not saying Sam Darnold was good at that point, but a lot of quarterbacks aren't early on. And I just think, like, you look at that draft class and now he's the first one who could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, look, the big lesson here, and you can see it, there's actually two lessons. The first one is that there is a system for everybody. If you are a highly drafted, highly sought after quarterback that has all the metrics, has all the analysis, everything you want, checks all the box, you're an early first round draft pick, you're evaluated the right way that you should be a star. There is a system for you. Now, the thing is going to be, is the team that drafts you, are you going to be in the right system? You're going to be in the right offensive coordinator. You're going to be the right head coach. They're going to have the right players around you. Like, that's the thing, because two places Sam Darnold it was awful, right? It was awful in New York and awful in Carolina. But where was it good? It was good in Minnesota, and it's good in Seattle. So there's a system for everyone. Baker Mayfield, who flamed out of Cleveland, there's a system for him, became a Pro Bowl quarterback with Tampa Bay. Geno Smith was a backup for 10 years, goes to Seattle, and is a decent starter for a few times. He gets a big contract with the Raiders. I mean, now he stinks, but still, there's a system for everybody. So you never can say, oh, this guy's terrible and he's washed out. You go back, there's a reason this guy was an early draft pick. The other part of it is think about this, is that how many careers of quarterbacks did we miss out on because they couldn't get to that system? It's one thing for a guy like Mayfield or Geno Smith it didn't work in their first place. But hey, they go to another team, they carve out a nice career, and they reach their ceiling as players, and it's nice to see. Darnold's the first guy that went from bust, and all of a sudden, boom, Super Bowl. So you wonder, and in playing his best game in the NFC Championship game. So I wonder, how many careers of first rounders did we not see? Did we not get just because they didn't get to the right system? Because we have missed a guy who won multiple Super Bowls, but because he was stuck in one bad system and never really got on track, or was there two places and then wound up out of the league? How many of those careers did we miss on because of that? Because Darnold has shown you that, hey, you think, okay, the first place doesn't work for me, I can go someplace else, have a nice little career. No, now it's like I can go from the first place and it being terrible and people thinking I'm a backup to, hey, guess what? I can achieve at the highest level, because the only reason he's getting this chance is because J.J. McCarthy got hurt, right? Because J.J. McCarthy doesn't get hurt in Minnesota. He's going to be the quarterback all last year, right? He's not sitting. They're not benching a first-round pick. J.J. McCarthy's going to be the guy all year. Darnold's never going to play. He's probably still backing up in Minnesota, or he's someplace else after a year, and who knows where we are. But he gets that break that, when McCarthy got hurt, and he jumps in, hey, guess what? And I restart my career. You have luck, you have systems, so much is out there that I wonder, just, man, all these different realities, like in the MCU, if we see all these different, is there a place where maybe Geno Smith won 4 Super Bowls with the Jets, right? Is there a reality where that happened? Is there a reality where Sam Darnold is still a Jet and he's got 2 Super Bowls? Because that could absolutely be a possibility. I mean, maybe not with the Jets, but you got what I'm saying.
Yeah. Very true about that. One last one for you. When you look, though, just on the matchup, and I know you hate it, but how can the Patriots win?
The Patriots can win, and it's crazy, the magic carpet ride that they have had all the way here, right? Through the season, they beat 11 teams that wound up firing their head coaches at the end of the season. They played 11 games against teams that fired their head coaches. So that tells you the level of play that they had. Oh, by the way, they played the Jets twice. Okay, so You had 11 games against teams that fired their head coach and the Jets twice. Now you get to the playoffs, right? You play a Charger team that doesn't have an offensive line and you're playing at home. Okay, that's fine. It's first playoff game, right? Then you get a Bronco team that's missing their quarterback and absolutely shoots themselves in the foot. And it's this magic carpet ride. They have it all the way to the Super Bowl. And conventional wisdom will tell you that this should be where the story ends. This should be where it ends for New England, right? Seattle is better everywhere. But boy, could I see a game where Sam Darnold is pushing it and the Patriots pick him off 4 times and they do just enough offensively to win, and they win a low score. They win a 21-16 kind of game and Darnold goes for a touchdown and 4 interceptions, I can absolutely see that because that's Darnold's thing. When he forces it, he will give you the football. And while that may be the only path that the Patriots have to victory, I've seen it work for them all year long. I can't say I can't see that scenario in the Super Bowl.
I like that stat, 11 games against teams who fired their coach. Wild
That's
stuff.
insane, right?
Yeah,
That's
wild.
insane.
Well, you know what? The one thing about the NFL is why you have a lot of teams who are in the playoffs and then out the next year is because of their schedule. And you know what? That makes it entertaining. And now you do have a lot of bad teams, as sadly you know, who could never get out of their way. So here's my last one for you. What can the Jets do to improve next season?
Oh my God. See, it's funny you say that because at this point, after the news that Aaron Glenn is he's gonna call the plays and the whole defensive coordinator thing went out the window and all the coaches that he fired, because the last 24 hours has shown you that, okay, every decision Aaron Glenn made when he got hired was wrong. All the coaches were wrong. And now not only that, we're waiting until 2 weeks after all the other OCs and DCs have been hired for him to start hiring people. So like what the Jets haven't learned. And honestly, I'm at the point where I know Aaron Glenn's going to get fired after this year because we're going to be terrible. And so the biggest way for the Jets to improve is to have the number 1 pick in the draft next year and have Arch Manning or Dante Moore, whoever it's going to be. That's the only way because there's no quarterback there for him this year. They'll get a get-by guy. I'm sure they'll wind up with either Malik Willis or if they can make a trade, because I'm sure they would let him go, even though he's a backup. Malik Willis, Mac Jones. But I know they're going to be picking first next year. That's the best path to success, is to be picking first, where they'll eventually get a quarterback who wants to be there. Now, I have this big disaster scenario in my head where they pick first and like the top 4 quarterbacks all say, yeah, I don't want to go there. Don't draft me, which is going to be embarrassing. But still, that's the only way. Number 1 overall, Arch Manning coming out, Dante Moore, whoever it's going to be. That's the way the Jets improve for next year. So I'm looking forward to another 3-14 or 2-15 type season with a new head coach. I mean, we couldn't get John Gruden to come out of retirement yesterday, right? Like John Gruden, who may never coach in the NFL again, wants to get back in so bad. This may be the only chance he has to get back in. And when the Jets called him to say, hey, would you come in and join Aaron Glenn's staff? He said no. He chose never coaching again in the NFL, that possibility, over coaching with the Jets. So where does that tell you where the Jets stand right now? It's not great, Bob. Not great. That's not great, Bob. Not great.
Not at all. Jason, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll tune in later tonight. Thanks so much for your time.
You got it, Jay. Anytime.
You betcha. That's Jason Smith, host of Fox Sports. You can listen to him weeknights here on Sports 1440. Quick break. We'll come back. 5 questions on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
New Year's resolutions. We all make them. We all say we're going to start eating healthier or going to the gym or starting that new hobby. But at GS Construction, we actually follow through on our New Year's resolution because it's the same every year. We promise to set the groundwork, literally, for another year of progress and growth. And we've stuck by that resolution since 1974. So start that all-you-can-eat diet. GS Construction is going to start planning right now for the year ahead. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hear ye, Dragon Fruit has returned to Booster Juice. Prepare thyself for the legendary alchemy of the Dragon Slayer Smoothie, Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Balls. Yeah. Does the dragon taste like chicken? Hey, Booster Juice uses only delicious tropical dragon fruit. No dragons are harmed. Get thee to Booster Juice before dragon fruit vanishes once more.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Happy New Year. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for everything in 2025. With your help and your support, we fed almost 500 families. We donated to various charities in the Edmonton area, and we're going to do it again in 2026. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.353. Gregor Halley with you. Let's get quickly to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Free local delivery when you spend $4.99 or more. You can get 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom, and dining furniture right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, with Evan Bouchard's hat trick, he is just 4 goals shy of the career high at 18. Now he's at 14, obviously, which he had last year. If you had to predict his goal total this season, what will it be for Evan Bouchard?
So he would need 6 to get to 20?
Yeah.
I'll say he gets there. I'll say 21.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to hope that down the stretch he ramps it up a little, jumps into the play. I'm going to say he gets to 24 this year, has a really good season. Question number 2 for you. With the Giannis trade rumors swirling and the deadline coming up on the 5th of February, give me one team you think could realistically acquire him that you'd like to see, and then one that you think would just be fun to see.
Well, I think there's a few that realistically could acquire him. Even the Raptors, funny enough. But a fun team, San Antonio, for sure.
Yeah. Fun team, that's what I like to see. A realistic team. I think we talked about this before, and I went with the New York Knicks. I like to see him in a big market. So let's say the Knicks, and then a fun team, either pair him up with Wemby or maybe throw him with the Thunder just to make a crazy all-star team. But I don't know how realistic that one is. Question number 3 for you. The reports with Belichick missing Hall of Fame year, his first year of eligibility for the cheating scandals. Tom Brady was also involved in one with the Deflategate. He got the 4-game suspension as well. So do you think he would face a similar fate with not being first ballot Hall of Fame?
Probably not. This one, you know what? They got their attention. I think I think there's a lot of people focused on Deflategate, more so the fact that I think Robert Kraft is the guy behind the scenes being like, I don't want Belichick in my induction. That's just what I think. So I don't think that'll happen to Brady.
Yeah, that would be that's crazy. That's a good point. Question number 4 for you. I don't think there'll be a similar fate either. With just a couple of jobs remaining in the NFL, the head coaching carousel, who's your favorite hire and least favorite hire?
You go ahead.
Mike McDaniel would be my favorite hire as the OC, but I really like the Harbaugh one for the New York Giants. I think that would be a really good one. And if I'm looking at my least favorite hire, I got to go Monken today with the Cleveland Browns. And, he's got a great career, offensive coordinator where I kind of thought he'd end up with the New York Giants. But you also lose your defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz, who I think a lot of people really liked. And now there's a few DC jobs out there. And he becomes, I think, one of the best candidates out there. So I think you might have ruffled a few feathers with that decision. So that would be it for me.
And I don't know why. I think Stefanski's going to do okay in Atlanta.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
2-time coach of the year.
Yeah. I think he'll do all right there. So I'll go with that one.
Question number 5 for you. Alan Alda turned 90 years old today. Of course, star of lots of things, but really big in MASH for years. So in honor of that, your top 3 war movies or TV shows.
Oh, man, I love war movies. Saving Private Ryan would probably have to be at top of my list. Apocalypse Now, Connor Halley, phenomenal.
Yep.
War movie. Now, I don't know. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I remember the time when I watched it, and I honestly, I don't think I've ever rewatched it, but I love Platoon. So I might go with Platoon for a war movie. But that I'm going to put a little bit of a caveat. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know. Where Saving Private Ryan, I've watched numerous times, and I love it.
Yeah, those are all very good ones. I would put.
Although, this one, would Schindler's List be considered a war movie? Because if it is, then I'm putting Schindler's List in, and I'm taking out Platoon.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay, I'll put in Schindler's List.
I'll say Enemy at the Gates for me.
Oh, good one. I like that.
I think that's an underrated one as well.
Very good.
Geez, there's so many good ones. Black Hawk Down be another good one, and if you're not taking Platoon, I will. I'll slide Platoon in there. That was I watched that one day. I was like, this movie's very good, very long, of course. Well, actually, only 2 hours. Apocalypse Now is the long one, right? 2.5 hours. That's not in my wheelhouse, but yeah, I really did enjoy Platoon.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of votes coming in already. Bridge over Iroquois. Yeah, a lot of people. Hamburger Hill. Ooh, I haven't remembered that movie. Forrest Gump. There was part of it, but I don't know if Forrest Gump's a war movie, right? But there was definitely some major parts of that one, of course, right? Bubba passing away. It did tie into a lot of different things. It was fantastic. Lieutenant Dan, right? New Year's Eve. Who doesn't remember that one?
I'm so proud of everyone.
Locked cigarettes.
Everyone who texted in Tropic Thunder, I'm proud of you. That's such a good movie. And I always thought it was a little underrated, but so good.
Okay.
Not a serious one.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen Tropical Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, yeah. Well, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. does blackface.
Right, okay.
Which was not as scandalous when it happened. I feel like still is not like he almost got the pass for it, but Jack Black. Good movie. You should definitely check it out. Tom Cruise has a little cameo in it.
Yeah. Hey, guys, a great war movie is Das Boot. It's in German. Oh, never heard of it. Might have to check it out. Guys, is Inglourious Bastards a war movie? Oh, that was a great movie. Great movie from Fire. I like that a lot. So, Good Morning Vietnam. I guess that would kind of qualify as a war movie. Different type, right? So, but it was, it was around the war. So, yeah, that's fair. There are lots of good ones, man. There's lots of tough ones too. Like Schindler. Like I will say, like Schindler's List. If you haven't watched it, definitely would recommend watching it. And Saving Private Ryan was phenomenal. Like, the opening scene of that movie, Cons, is just, it's crazy. Like, it really gave you a little bit of a sense of just, like, it was in certain areas, like you were extremely lucky just to survive. Extremely lucky. So wild stuff. When we come back, Rich Winter will join us here in the business of sport, and Oiler fans of the 80s. You're automatically you're going to get a little angry here just when the name, but Neil Sheehy is going to join. Now Neil's had himself quite a career outside of hockey. Obviously had a pretty good hockey career, but he is he's a lawyer, he's a neuromuscular therapist, like pretty smart dude. So we're going to talk a lot about he was part of it during the whole Eagleson thing, and then they're working to reform the NHLPA with Rich, worked on that together. So lots of stuff to go on with Neil Sheehy in the business of sport after a Connor Halley Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Reminding you that even though it's 2026, they've got unbelievable deals right now on some remaining 2025 models. Go see Mike and the gang or check them out online at northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, just 3 games on the schedule. At 5, Rangers Islanders. At 5:30, got the Jackets and the Flyers and the Avs in Ottawa. In the association, the Raptors hosting the Knicks. Tip-off set for 5:30. The Oil Kings are in action down in Calgary, taking on Hitman just after 7 o'clock. And in the PWHL, you got 4 games in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa up against Seattle, New York takes on Boston, and Vancouver meets Minnesota. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, it is another edition of the Business of Sport with longtime NHL agent Rich Winter and Neil Sheehy. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio.
station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman.
Wednesday afternoon, Oilers were back in the ice. No Matthias Ekholm.
After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known.
Gregor Halley with you. Let's get
Noodle. You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Game Sports 1440 is your front row seat to the wild world of sports. Local legends, national headlines, and everything in between. Your station. This is Sports 1440.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, Twitch as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, consuming the show, however you do it. We very much appreciate it. It's always welcome. Bizet Oilers did not play or practice, or sorry, they practiced today. They play tomorrow. No Matthias Ekholm. He is day-to-day. Regula was skating with Bouchard, which hints me a little bit that maybe it's not overly serious, because if you thought for sure he was out, then maybe you'd practice Wallman or Nurse with Bouchard. I think it's going to be one of them. My hunch is it might be Wallman, but we shall see in how it goes. And the coach did say day-to-day doesn't think it's going to be anything too serious, so we'll see. But there you go. Now, Ekholm was not announced as a replacement for Brodin. We said that earlier. Well, T.S. kind of told himself, he goes, I'm not canceling my trip. He wasn't holding out much faith that he was going to get in there. For whatever reason, the Sweden head coach isn't a fan of Ekholm, which just tells you everybody's going to have a different evaluation on players, and doesn't mean they're always right. So even if it's the coach, but it's a little odd to me. But now they have good options. Lindholm's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Brodin was a very good player. So, you know, you got a lot of options. And I guess if you like one guy better, you're going to like one guy better. And that's just how it goes. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. The OG of lotteries tonight, Lotto 649, $20 million, or the guaranteed jackpot of 5. Now, nobody won the max millions last night, so it's up to 20 as well for Friday. It's the business of sport now, as we welcome in longtime NHL player agent Rich Winter. Rich, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Doing great till I arrived. Like, I'm starving. I've been working since 5:30 this morning. I don't know what these guys are eating over here, but it smells incredible.
I don't know what he's
like,
eating
we might
over
have
there.
to just go off on break and just get over and get on them. And But other than that, I'm good. Yeah, having a great week working on some really cool things. It's been a lot of fun the last couple of days.
Awesome. And you lined up a very special guest for us today on the Business of Sport, where we can talk about the business of sport and a very unique role that not a lot of guys can do, and not a lot of guys did as well as him, but then also a lawyer, a neuromuscular therapist,
who is it?
Father
Who
of
is it?
nine.
Father of nine.
Part of the
Seven girls.
7 girls knew the whole Alan Eagleson challenge that you were part of, and I think that's where you two met, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of really.
We actually met on the first. He was a player at that time. We met in Washington, and Ron Salser sold me to the crowd because I was getting beat up by Eagleson, because you can't destroy the message, you destroy the messenger, and they did a pretty good job of it. But I remember Ron Salser, another agent for those who don't know, he got up and said, well, they're attacking Rich, but geez, the guy married a girl with 3 kids. How bad can that be? How bad? And it was funny thing is Peter Bondra and Michael Pavanka, and I thought that was the dumbest thing you could say. It was the only thing they remembered from me. He's a family guy. Yeah, I want to talk to him. So that was interesting.
There you go. Well,
and then Neil did the same thing. He ended up he married a girl with 5 kids and brought 4 along with him. So interesting to see how talk to him about how he manages his job.
It's not like the Brady Bunch. It's like the Sheehy Bunch. As Neil Sheehy joins us. Neil, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, Jason. Glad to be here.
Hey, happy to have you here. We'll get into kind of like the business side afterwards, but I do want to go back in time. So Neil Sheehy comes out, and you get involved pretty quickly in the Battle of Alberta, and back in the 80s, like it was heated. The Oilers were obviously the top dog, and the Flames were trying to take them down. When you came in, I think your first year was kind of like 84, 85, and you had come out of Harvard. Like, you're a smart guy, so obviously you were smart enough to realize, like, I gotta find a way to get 99 off his game. Because I'll be honest, like, I saw Steve Casper fall him around and shadow him and stuff, but I don't know if I ever saw a player who could get Wayne off his game as much as you did. Like, was that a concerted effort right from the get-go? Did someone tell you to do it? Did you decide, you know what, this is how I can make a name for myself and I can help my team?
Well, originally I saw Paul Baxter be put out there against Wayne, and I knew the best way to get ice time was if I could do a role like that, and so every time I tried to get on the ice against Wayne as much as I could, I'd take a short shift, and maybe guys would get tired, then I'd go out early and be able to go out against them. And finally, I started getting a few shifts against them, and I just tried to pester him. And next thing I know, Bob Johnson kind of started to put me out there against him more regularly, and then it became a role. So it was I tried to make it happen. All I wanted to do is survive and trying to get some ice time.
And it is like, you go after, and basically, like, that's going after the king of hockey at the time, right? It's Wayne Gretzky. And there was no shrinking, like, there was no shortage of shrinking violets on the other side, like Semenko. Like, so you knew when you do that, you would be public enemy number 1, Neil, right? And so that, was it difficult at all knowing, okay, I'm going to do this. I know I have to do this role, but God, there's going to be a lot of guys coming in for me, like Messier with a stick or an elbow, etc. How did you deal with that side of it?
Well, that was the role that I had to have anyway. And I figured that it was a lot easier if I was on the defensive. If those guys had to come after me, then I could sit back and wait, as opposed to getting out on the ice and trying to make something happen against them. So, I just I started to go against Wayne, and then I just had to sit and wait. And I knew guys were coming after me. Calgary also had the best power play in the league. Yeah. So, I didn't have to, I realized I didn't have to fight, because all the guys knew I could fight. But if you don't have to, and you just sit back and wait a little bit, you can have a little fun with it.
Well, and I don't know, I didn't really pay much attention to those games, Neil, but I know you must have been pretty intimidating when you were bench pressing or shoulder pressing Bob Lanza at a restaurant. Like, Neil, grab this.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember, but he's bench pressing a guy that's probably 180 pounds. I just thought it was funny. I don't remember why we were doing that, Neil, but it was pretty funny.
Neil, those days when you came in, and obviously, I think everybody, it didn't matter. You went to Harvard. You're a fan of the NHL, and everybody knew how dominant the Oilers were, and they'd obviously won their first Stanley Cup the year before. And then you guys had some epic battles with them in the playoffs. Take me through Bob Johnson and just kind of how as a coach, he really kind of built your team to take out the Oilers like that. Like, obviously your team was very good, it was very skilled, but you had a strategy, to go up against Oilers. It didn't work all the time, of course, but you were able to beat them once. And that's kind of unique that, to really kind of focus on one team.
Bob Johnson, I thought, was just a phenomenal coach. And, he just devised a plan, and he kept, he didn't stick with any one thing if it wasn't working. He always he was always looking at things that could work. But the big thing, he'd break down video, and he would show, how Paul Coffey would always skate up the right side on his backhand, and he'd gain the zone and go around the net. So then we talked about, well, don't let him get back in the play. So somebody just has to jump on him. And that was back in the day when you could hold people and grab guys and drag them down, and you didn't get penalties. So, then, there was talk about, even with, just watching Wayne would always be where the puck wasn't, so he'd be on the other side of the ice, be on the half board, the plays in the far corner. What I did was I'd go stand by him, because I knew 99% of the time the puck was going to be rimmed around the net and come to him. And so I just stood by him talking to him. And when the puck would actually get to him, I'd keep my hands down low and I'd push him against the boards, because I knew I'd get a penalty if I did anything other than that. So I never played dirty against him. I just played very annoying hockey.
His vision and seeing the game is what many people rave about, right? Like there's lots of guys who are maybe a little faster and definitely stronger, but he used his brain. And you're a pretty smart guy. Like, when you watched him, even as an opponent, what maybe did you respect, or kind of at times be like, I can't believe that this guy's doing this? What was it about his game as an opponent that really stood out to you and you had the most respect for?
Well, like I said, he'd stand on the other side of the ice. The puck would be rimmed around to him, and then he would have the puck and have all the time in the world. He could put the puck on anybody's stick, right on the tape, anywhere on the ice at any time, especially when he has time. So what I realized is that rather than standing in front of the net, if I stood by him, you don't give him time, because he's the greatest there is when he has time. And a lot of times, well, he is too when he doesn't have time. But the key was just try and give him as little time as possible, and then try to get in his head by talking to him. And, so he would be thinking more about me than thinking about scoring goals or giving Jarry the puck to score, or, anybody else on the ice for that matter.
So as a defenseman, usually it's like, hey, protect the house. You stand in front of the net. So if you're leaving the front of the net to go stand by him, obviously that was part of your team's defensive structure, that they would have had to change other guys, because I don't think they could just have you vacate the front of the net, correct?
Well, I was being told not to do it, but but it made no sense to me to be there if I knew there was a 99% chance that the puck was going to him.
Okay.
And then once we saw that was working, then nobody told me to stand in front of the net again. They just said, all right, just go out and play.
After you left Calgary, you went to Hartford for a season. Then you were in Washington. You actually came back to Calgary to finish up your career in 1992. But when you went out east to play for the Capitals, did you notice, we've always talked about, West and East is sometimes different. Did you notice, was there a different way the game was played in the Eastern Conference back in the late 80s, early 90s compared to the West?
Well, I think the game was a lot more wide open and more skating in the West. There are a lot of great teams, a lot of great skating teams. The travel was very different as well. In Calgary, we'd go on, 6, 7, 8 game road trips. Be gone when you go on the road, you're gone for 2 weeks. when you're out east, you're home for a night, and then you go on the road. You go the night before a game, then you play a game, and then you wait till the next day to come back. So it takes 3 days to play one road game, unless you go on a lengthy road trip, which you would do when you go out west. But it was a lot easier the travel was shorter on the East Coast, but it just took too many days to play one game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Did you find, you said it was more wide open. Was your game better suited for the West or the East?
Probably the East.
Okay.
I think my game would probably, but everything if you find the right role, it doesn't matter whether it's East or West. And I certainly found the right role in Calgary and had a lot of fun, and it was it was good for me at the time.
And when you left, because Neil Sheehy, the Battle of Alberta, like we got a text coming from people, God, I hated him. Like that was, and that's a compliment really when fans can remember that you need villains are great in sports. Maybe it's not great to be the villain, but it's great for sports to have villains. Did you ever really feel that again in other markets, or was it just like, man, like when I was in Calgary, like I was kind of at the top of the villain scale?
Yeah, that's the way I felt, and I enjoyed that role. I mean, I had fun. Bob Johnson always said to me, he pulled me in the office once, and he goes, "Shee, come here." He goes, "Shee, you're just like an actor in a Broadway play." And I go, "How's that, Coach?" He goes, "You know what happens when actors can't act?" I go, "What's that, Coach?" He goes, "We bring in new actors. Now get out there and entertain those people." And so all of a sudden I sat there and I go, he's giving me a message. And I go, I said, I got to figure out what that is.
I think, but it's a testament to the way you played that you got a call from a guy, after Buckler chirped the daylights out of you for 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was. And then you got a strange call from somebody that knew Muckler quite well a long time later, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a call from Muckler, but it was a friend of Muckler's he was the GM in Ottawa. And I was asked if I'd be interested in being an assistant GM. And I said, with all due respect, I mean, I would have loved to have talked to John Muckler at the time, but I just said, look, just let him know, I have a big family and I spent all my time traveling when I was a player. So I'm setting up shop in one home, and I need to control my own destiny, because a lot of times in management, you're hired to be fired.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be middle-aged and without a job. So I just created my own agency, and I've had a job ever since I stopped playing.
So tell us what the dinner table's like at the Sheehy house when the kids are young and you have 7 girls, your wife, and there's just the 3 of you boys. Like, what's going on at that table, man?
Lots of noise, lots of I was the youngest of 9, Rich, so I grew up with it.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I always said I wanted 9 kids. I always said I wanted 9 kids, and then I had 4, and then I married, a widow with 5. But I went into it knowing what I was doing. I said, I wasn't afraid of having 9 children, because I thought of all the lost potential. I think of all the lost potential my parents wouldn't have had if they didn't have number 9. So I thought, I thought of all the lost potential. If I don't marry this woman with 5 kids, I said I have to do it. So.
So you did it.
That was the story. Yeah.
Neil Sheehy joins. Now, Neil, I want to ask, because when you went to Washington, you're in the same division now as a young Merrill Lemieux with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Did you get the opportunity to shadow him similar to Wayne at all?
I tried. I remember one time Mario's coming down on me, and I come right out, and I put my hands in his chest, and he kind of just brings his body up, and he starts stick handling on the other side of me. And And I'm sitting there kind of hitting him in the chest and everything. And I was, then he just, goes with one hand and then he goes around me and I go, that didn't go so well. But I just realized what a beast he was and just what a phenomenal player he was on an individual basis. Wayne had the ability to put the puck on anybody's tape anywhere on the ice at any time. Mario was obviously a tremendous one-on-one. He was a great player. It was certainly different than Wayne.
So was it in a way, so they're different challenges, right? When you're defending Mario, you're like, oh my God, physically here, he can embarrass me. Whereas Wayne will embarrass me maybe more mentally because he'll see something that I'm not anticipating. So you must have had to play them very different. And that's got to be hard because you're like, it's not like I can change that much in how I play. It's just, you've got a kind of a savant on one side and then just a physical specimen on the other.
Yes. No. Yeah. Like I say, Wayne used his brain and his skill to put the puck wherever he needed to be placed on the ice. Mario could certainly pass the puck too, but he was just a beast, one-on-one, and he was so big and strong. That just amazed me playing against him.
You can only imagine how he would have been if he actually worked out and didn't smoke between periods and before the game. And I remember Martin Stracker going to Pittsburgh, and he called me through the interpreter and said, are all the NHL teams like this? Like, we don't wear equipment for practice. Like, they did this, they wear their sweats for practice. Mario's never on the ice. He's having a massage, smoking up there. He goes, he just couldn't figure it out. But, I think we can only imagine what Mario would have been if he took, had Sidney Crosby type focus. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah, he was pretty skilled. Neil, we're going to take a break and then I want to come back and, obviously we talk about, you mentioned how you started your own agency, which is very unique. So I want to go down that path because always in the business of sports, we'd like to talk about the different business elements and kind of how, obviously had a Harvard degree. So that might've helped you in one way, but I don't know if it was a business degree. So we'll touch on that next with Neil Shee here in the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
When the ground freezes, you wonder how anything can get done. And instead of staying outside in temperatures that would make a polar bear cry, you head inside where it's toasty and warm. But that's not what GS Construction does. Because while the ground freezes above, we plan below, rebuilding and revitalizing the systems that keep our communities working year after year. Now, don't worry. GS Construction promises to do everything safely and efficiently, and we'll wear our extra warm clothing outside. For more on what we do, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpot's Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
.428. Jason Gregor, Rich Winter, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It's the business of sport. Our guest is Neil Sheehy, of course, NHL player, then NHL player agent, lawyer, and more. And just one quick thing before I get back to Neil. Artemi Panarin will not be in the lineup tonight because of roster management purposes, essentially meaning trade is closed and not expected to dress again before the Olympic break, unless there's a trade. Obviously, then he would play with his new team. What's interesting, you know who could really use him? And the city he loves? New York, the Islanders. They already made one trade,
wow.
but that would be wild.
Interesting.
The LA Kings could really use his offense, no question. The Dallas Stars.
Well, almost everybody.
Yeah, sure. But then you look
The
at
contenders.
cap situation and everything else. So it's kind of be interesting to see where he goes. And now we're going to get into the business side of Neil's career. Of course, he was a player for many years from 1984 to 1992, and then spent a few years in Europe. But you got into the player agency business, Neil. Kind of walk us through, first of all, who was your agent when you played?
I had 2 agents. My first agent was Brian Burke, who went to Harvard Law School. So I met him when I was at Harvard. And when he left to go to the Vancouver Canucks, I went with Bob Goodnow, who was also a former Harvard hockey player.
Okay.
So those are my two agents. Met them both at Harvard. And when I was thinking about what I was going to do when I was done playing, I said, well, maybe I'll go to law school and become an agent. So I guess those 2 guys inspired me to do that.
So you went to law school, you get your law degree, and then right into the agency business. Kind of walk us through how you started at that time, your own agency.
Well, a guy like me doesn't, you don't get a retirement tour or anything. You just go home and you're done. It's over.
Yeah.
It's funny. Players always ask me, they say, what do we do when we retire? I go, just, go home and, say hello to your wife.
You used to tell me there's 2 steps to it. You take the trips you never could take in the winter with your kids. So it's maybe Disney World and Hawaii. Then you take that one Italian trip with your wife, and then you sit in the kitchen. That's it. You sit in the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, that works too, Rich. But
there's no idea, really, they don't prepare you. There's
no, when you're done, you're done. And there's people, well, do you write a letter? No, I mean, unless you just want everybody to know that you're kicked out of the league, you're done.
Well, Tyson Nash told me, he said, it's just so weird because they don't shut the locker door behind you. They lock it. You're in the room, you're putting your equipment on, and 2 days later, the room's locked and you're finished. He says, it's such a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went home and knowing what I wanted to do. So it was that summer and I was hoping to play again, but then I didn't get any calls to play. So I had already applied to law school and I deferred 1 year.
Okay.
And then I got a phone call from a guy who asked me if I wanted to go play in Europe. So I said, yeah, I'd love to go play. So I went to Slovenia, the capital city, Ljubljana, and I played a year. And I had so much fun that I wanted to go back for a second year, but they said that I couldn't because I already deferred 1 year. So I went to school. I took a class that summer, took a contracts class, and once you start, you have 3 years to finish. So I went back to the dean and I said, well, I'm not looking to defer a year. I'm looking to take a 1 year leave of absence. So they said, but your time starts now. And I said, no problem. And anyway, so I went and played a second year. And when I came back, then I said it was time to get on with life. And I started law school then, and I finished in 2.5 years.
So once you're done law school, how quick was it? Like, was it, okay, I'm done law school, and the next week I'm like, okay, I'm going to start agency. Like, how do you come out of law school to start being a player agent?
Okay. So I've been in the business for 11 years as a player. So I understood it. And then my roommate on the road in Calgary, the second time I was in Calgary, was Paul Ranheim. And so I met with Paul in the summer, and he said, hey, I'm looking for an agent. Why don't you be my agent? So right away, I started with an NHL player.
Okay, nice.
And then after law school, I just started, during law school, I was always looking at players and looking at young guys and looking at the draft and, just familiarizing myself with everything. And then I just started making calls to players and back then, I could get a player out of college. Like I got a guy named Jason Blake. He was never drafted. I thought he was really good. I thought he had a chance to play. And, all of a sudden he played till he was 40 years old. Now I'm representing his son, who's in the NHL in Carolina. But, I just went out and I looked at guys that I thought could play and just started to recruit. And luckily I was fortunate enough to be able to get some good players.
Neil Sheehy joins us, former NHLer, of course, a current player agent. And so, Neil, there was obviously an advantage, your former roommate, you get him as a client and you had played in the league. So, that's something a lot of other agents, like somebody out there who wants to be an agent, if you don't have the NHL resume, it makes it more of a challenge for sure.
Yeah, it's like it took 4 or 5 years to get some decent clients until the wall came. I got lucky, but that's a long story.
And so, Neil, for you though, like what was as a player, you're always learning. What was like the biggest early learning curve of being a player agent for you?
Just really familiarizing yourself with the CBA. And, when I started as an agent, the CBA was 75 pages. Yeah. And then when Bob Goodnow came in and, everything was rewritten and it got a lot more complicated. And, then it went to like 555 pages. So I think the biggest thing was just really, you don't just sit down and read a 550-page document. What you have to do is you have to apply it to your players and just see how it fits. And then you learn as you go, really. But you always have to be looking to see, what clause in the CBA directly affects your client, whether he's a college player or a junior player or, third year in the league or fifth year in the league. And I think that was the biggest thing is just learning the CBA as you go, really.
Yeah, well, and it's always changing, right? Like every CBA, there's something new that gets put into it, and we've seen quite a few former agents become managers in the National Hockey League, and obviously Bill Zito would probably be the most successful one recently, having gone back-to-back Stanley Cups. I know that you mentioned how John Muckler maybe want to talk to you when you're done playing. You're like, no, I want to control my own destiny. Did you ever think about, after doing the player agent as long as this, would management in the NHL ever intrigue you?
No, it really wouldn't. There was a time where I thought about it, but I just knew it wasn't for me. So that's why I stayed on the agent side.
Well, the agent side is so good, Neil, and we have a lot of flexibility. And a lot of people don't realize that, if you're Bill Scott today, you got to be at the game. They have a schedule, and I used to take my kids on trips. We used to, I come in to see you if you're a client, and I tell you, I forgot about the dance recital, Neil. I'm going to come next week. Players don't care, and you had a lot of flexibility to really enjoy family time, which was important, right?
Well, family is definitely important, and that's the big reason why, I just said, as I said, I didn't want to be hired to be fired, and being an agent, I could pretty well control my schedule. Definitely get out and see all my players, but I'd have a lot more family time, and when you have 9 kids, you need it.
Yeah. I thought 5 was challenging. 9's probably, I guess, twice as challenging.
A little bit of a different level. The CBA in itself, though, as a player agent, you mentioned just how much more in depth it is and comprehensive for players, and there's different rules for all different players at entry level, and when they sign a contract and what that means for their entry level kicking in. So many sort of factors, Neil. But the one thing, and I'm sure it seems at times, I've talked to Rich about this, like it seems at times it can be a little bit cutthroat. There's lots of competition, and some guys are maybe a little bit more greasier than others, and trying to hijack clients and different things.
Little bit be a slight understatement.
But
really, they paid you that much?
Yeah.
We actually had Jarry Hoodler in a meeting. Now, I don't know if we ever talked about this, Neil. So I'm in the meeting. He barely speaks English, and he says, "I'm very interested. You're the best. But for me, a $100,000 signing bonus from you now." And I'm thinking, the guy's 17. He already speaks the language. That's a lot of balls. But somebody paid it to him.
Somebody paid it to him. Wow. Wow. I didn't even know that. So
Hey, Rich, I recruited Jarry Hoodler as well.
Did you really? Did you have to go the same question?
It was only 10 for me, but
yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, what's his home address? Yeah, right.
No, but I just said I wasn't interested.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a father one time, and he was from somewhere north near Alaska, and his ask was, I think it was 150, but he didn't want his son to know, and he just wanted it paid to him because his theory was sensible. He said, "Look, I've spent all this money, training, sticks."
He wanted the money back.
He wanted the money.
Oh my God.
Like you're going, okay.
Yeah, but don't tell anybody, and don't tell my son.
Yeah, like that's a very straight up honest.
Some of the weird stuff that you've been exposed to, and then if someone else is doing it. Like he may not get his 150, but they're getting something, right? And the bigger agencies are doing that. They're not supposed to. They do it all the time.
I was just gonna say, like, is there, having been a lawyer yourself, Neil, like, is there anybody who monitors player agents to ensure that they're not doing things that they're not supposed to?
I don't know that anyone monitors it. I guess agents, you have to have evidence or that type of thing. The PA, if the PA knew that you were doing something, then they could act, but whether they find out or not is a whole different thing. The other thing is, to me, if somebody's going to pay off a player, I'm not going to pay off the player, but I just move on to the next guy.
Because usually those types of players or those types of people aren't the players you want anyway. I always like what my partner Todd always asks when one of our clients talks to him about a player on his team that's interested. He says, "Is he our kind of guy?" Because that's a really important question. I've had, Neil, you know this, like you have one bad apple, it's like 20% of your time just dealing with. We actually had the 2 bad apples. We won't probably name them right now, but oh boy, what a mess when you have a player that's a pain, isn't it? Really, and you get the guys $6-8 million a year players. They're pretty good guys. They don't have any problems, but sometimes those borderline kids will kill you, Neil.
Well, you know what? You do the best you can. You do the best you can, and if things aren't a fit, for the player or for the agent, sometimes you just have to walk away.
Yeah.
Neil, we're going to take one final break, but before then, for any of our listeners out there, it seems nowadays it's almost a prerequisite if you want to be a player agent, that having a law degree definitely helps. Not a must-have, but it seems that
more than
not have is. Is there anything else? Like, what advice would you give to young people that are considering getting into the agency business? What are some must-haves that they're going to have to do if they want to be successful?
Really, I think it's really, you have to have an in the league, whether it's with players, with management. You have to. I think the more people you know and you can converse with, and then because a lot of people in the game too can they can help you through a lot of different times, and being able to get in front of players is really important. So I think the more people you know, the more people you can get in front of, and then the more options you have to be able to get a player to say yes. Because that's what the business is. And, why me as opposed to Rich? But I don't compete against Rich because I'm not up in where he is. So I have to compete against the people in my territory.
But for example, Neil, like there's not a lot of ethics in some shops, but there is an understanding. Like you and I don't have to name the individuals involved, but what did I do the first time one of Neil's players reached out to me, and first call was to Neil saying, "Hey man, and you kind of blessed me taking over, and I'm probably never going to forgive you for that, but that happens. You have lots of agents you wouldn't even think of talking to their players, because in certain situations we know Kurt Overhart's doing a good job, we know Neil's doing a good job, they're friends of ours. We don't really, the other agencies, are certain ones that the best thing that could happen to the player was to get one of us instead of them. So it's a dog eat dog world, but not across the board, right?
No, I just like in anything, you have good people and you have people who you don't really care for because of the way they operate. So, I don't worry about it. I go about my business. If I don't like a situation, I get out of it. And if I like a situation, I go hard after it.
Yeah.
We'll take our final break. We're going to come back more with Neil Sheehy and the Business of Sports and the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brig. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture, up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game set.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting, a St. Albert and surrounding areas premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Or 46, we continue on. Jason Gregor, Rich Winner, our special guest, Neil Sheehy, joins us, of course, took a law degree afterwards. Also now neuromuscular therapist, Neil. Obviously, no shortage of a quest to want to learn. Give me a little insight in how the neuromuscular therapy is going and how that maybe helps you as an agent.
Well, it's going very, very well. I see a lot of people. What I did is I realized in hockey, you can't make money if you're injured. And if you're injured, you're probably not going to get the next contract. And so what I realized was, there are a lot of things as a player, I thought I could, when I had an injury, I just felt there were other ways to look at the injury. And these things started to come to me. And then what I did is I started using different techniques that I had learned over time. And then I decided, I needed the formal training so people didn't think I was completely off my rocker, which they did. And so I went to school, and I started to become a chiropractor. We had 12 cadavers in the school, and once I studied the cadavers, I said it's not about the bones. For me, it's about the brain connecting to the soft tissue. So then I asked the school, what else you have? And they said, well, we have massage therapy. And I just said, I'm not interested in being a masseuse. And so what I did, I said, well, what else you got? And they said, neuromuscular therapy. And I said, tell me about that. And I said, that's kind of what's in my mind. And so I went to school for that. But I already had ideas of kind of the healing techniques. And so I've developed those, and pretty well, most hockey injuries, aside from broken bones, I can get players back on the ice very quickly.
Doing what? So kind of give us a little bit of insight into what kind of therapy do you use?
Well, what I do is first I find out where. So a lot of injuries come because your muscles lose their ability to absorb force. Okay. So your muscles do two things. They move your skeleton, but the biggest thing they do, certainly in sports, is they absorb force. And so whenever you get hit, whenever there's impact to your body, if your brain doesn't send the proper signal to the muscles to absorb that force will still go into your body, but it will all of a sudden, it'll damage all the tissues and structures that are not designed to absorb force, such as ligaments, tendons, discs, bursa, fascia. Those are the structures that get injured, and those are most of the injuries in hockey. And so
it's like the groin pull can lead to a hip problem. It's sort of the same concept.
Yeah.
Right? So you got your muscles aren't aligned, and the body is pretty effective at absorbing force when everything's in alignment, right?
Correct. When everything's working, yes. You mentioned a groin. I mean, and I had groin issues when I was playing in the NHL, and now I can solve a groin within 2 days.
Really?
And do the contract and write up a real estate deal. It's like an amazing service, right?
Oh, for sure. No,
but it was interesting when you told me about it.
I talked to the players, and a player's out, and all of a sudden the trainer says you're out for 3 to 4 weeks. All of a sudden, if you have him back playing in 3 to 4 days, that's a big bonus. And
I've never been to your office, Neil. So do you have like a desk in the corner to play lawyer, and then like the massage table on there to manipulate the players when they come in?
I did, yeah. In my office, I did have a table, and then when COVID hit, I was there for about 2 more years, but nobody came to my office for about 2 years, so I moved home, and all my kids are out of the house, so I have a big house, and I work right out I have an office in my house. So
yeah, it was just interesting when you told me that you were doing that, and it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of people in sports that aren't doing what we need done for players.
And Neil, I love what you said, because it's very true. Like, the best ability is dependability or availability, depending on how you look at it, right? And guys who can play all the time, and sure, if you're healthy, then maybe you can play more, which means maybe get more points or more playing time and whatever and lead to more money. But what about with your the neuromuscular therapy? Is there lots of stuff that you can do preventative, so it limits these type of injuries?
100%. But let's just let's take let's take concussions. I won't say concussions because a concussion is a diagnosis by a medical doctor. Okay. So I don't deal with concussions, but I'm a head contusion specialist. Okay. And so when guys get hit in the head, I know exactly what to do. And guy often, and I had times where I'd been hit and all of a sudden you're out for quite some time. I really haven't found anybody that I can't get back playing in a very short period of time.
So because a lot of it, like I know with Sidney Crosby, they ended up realizing that, there's a lot of neck muscles and stiffness there that really was leading, he was diagnosed as a concussion, but they turned out many years later, they realized it was actually, it was more of his neck issue and the muscular stuff. But I'm even talking before, are there things you can do that say, if we're doing this type of, therapy on someone, it's going to lower their chances of having a groin pull? Or
Yes.
Does that work or no?
Across the board, the answer is yes.
Okay. So what would you recommend? What are some things that athletes or parents of athletes should be looking at doing with their kids to help potentially limit the possibility of an injury?
Come and see me and get a treatment. No, but seriously, it when you number one, because what I do is I find damaged tissue, and you have 12 cranial nerves that come out of the head and go through tissue. And if you have tissue that's damaged, you don't get the proper signals. When you don't get the proper signals, your muscles cannot absorb the force, and that's throughout the entire body. And so, and then usually when guys get hurt, well, no, every time someone gets hurt, then all I have to do is find out what are the muscles that were shut off, and then I find the problem, and then I get all those turned back on. And really, in order to get the body to heal right, you have to get the muscles to turn on, and that's through different manipulation and getting the brain connected to the muscles.
Okay. I love it. Well, Neve, fantastic interview, man. Really insightful. Really appreciate it. Love people that are always looking to learn and great new things and kind of take control of your own path. So continued success in player agency world as well as the therapy world. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you, Rich. All right. Great seeing you. Thank you.
You too, man. Take care.
There you go. That's Neil Sheehy. Interesting dude, man. Like really interesting
so John
dude.
Muckler's looking down.
Why haven't you taken like neurotherapy training? Like, why didn't you get another degree? What's going on there? In the agency world, he's kind of jumping ahead.
Hold on. I have just finished my artificial intelligence certificate at MIT.
Nice.
And I'm currently in the process of being certified by the United States Artificial Intelligence Institute as, gosh, I don't even know how to. It's complicated. I don't even want to.
Are you like a head contusion? I like that. I like how he said that. That was pretty good.
It's fascinating what I'm learning, and it's a lot of it's in the health area. What's coming in AI, we'll be able to extend players' careers 5 to 7 years, easy, maybe longer. It's going to extend our lives quite a bit longer than we could have imagined. It's unbelievable what's coming, and all of these different AI, AQ are all converging at a time and improving their ability to help us exponentially. It's hard. We think linearly. It's hard to think of multiple exponentially growing disciplines that are will help us become much healthier. People have it hard to believe that they're going to live to be well into the 100, 150. Your kids are our age. Our kids are going to it's mind numbing. Really.
Well, Rich, I look forward to next week's show.
Which will be fascinating.
Very fast. A little teaser for everybody. You would not want to miss next Wednesday's edition of the Business of Sports. Rich, have yourself a great week.
I will. Thanks for having me. And if you bring any food in next week, man, you're not going to get finished with it. It's you better check with me. If I haven't eaten, you're a dead man.
Awesome. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Of course, your next dinner is ready with Loca Quality Market Gourmet Meals. You can get them at two locations, Sherwood Park or in the West End, or even better, go online and they'll deliver them right to your door. Meals.loca.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, 3 games on the schedule. Rangers take on the Islanders, Jackets host the Flyers, and the Avs in Ottawa, meeting the Sens at 5:30 in the association. You got the Raptors hosting the Knicks. Also, Bulls in Indiana, Cavs host the Lakers, Magic taking on the Heat, Jazz up against the Warriors, Timberwolves head to Dallas, and the Rockets host the Spurs. Oil Kings in action in Calgary, taking on the Hitmen, puck drop just after 7, and in the PWHL, 4 games tonight, Toronto and Montreal, Ottawa host Seattle, New York takes on Boston, and Vancouver meets Minnesota. From the NFL, Todd Monken named new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Tyler Yarmchuk from Oilers Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
Happy New Year from Metal Supermarkets. They'd like to thank you for making them your place to shop for metal and for quick, efficient precision cutting and metal bending. If your resolutions for 2026 include a new project, commercial or residential, they're here to help. And speaking of resolutions, I've taken up pickleball.
11-0. I win.
Great. Now I can nap.
It's best of 3.
Not in my kitchen, kid. Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Your fantasy football league sucks. Why? Oh, we've got 7 painfully accurate reasons. And don't worry, we've got fixes too. Visit fantasytoilet.com for all the tools and hilarious awards to make your fantasy league suck less.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Five o'clock. Remember on the Flintstones when Cons? I don't know if you remember, and then all of a sudden the big horn would sound. And the end of the day, yabba dabba doo. God, there's just something, man. I only ever worked at one place in my life that had like a siren when it was the end of the workday, and you know what? It was like the greatest sound. I remembered very vividly. It was young. And I'm always like the only place I ever worked that had it. Like, does anybody even have one now? I'm going to guess no, But God, it was awesome. Yeah, no. That was a good one. But yes, it didn't have it like that. But it was just like there was a horn that went off, and that's when you knew it's like, okay, workday's over, man.
We were going to incorporate that into Fridays, and one time I was going to, but I didn't want to cut you guys off, and then it just fell off. So maybe Fridays at 5:50. No matter what, I just interrupt you guys.
You could just interrupt us. You could do it 5 o'clock a day then. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. As always, your one-stop shop for casino, live dealer, lottery, instance. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. And every day you got the Jason Gregor Show specials, some involving the Avs and the Sens and the Blue Jackets tonight, and even a little early play for the Super Bowl. Never too early. So check it out at playalberta.ca. Hey, time now for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. They do a lot of the work that goes unseen, but is ultra important. The underappreciated people, but super important, of construction. GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing, Jay? What's going on?
I am good, man. I am good. Just living the dream out here today. The big news today, Artemi Panarin is being held out of the lineup for roster reasons. Let's just be honest. A trade's coming. The Islanders would be wild because they could really use him, and it's in New York City. We've heard the LA Kings name is out there. I'd be very surprised if the Edmonton Oilers were in on it, only because of cap reasons. And I have zero intel to suggest that he would want to play in Edmonton. I don't know that at all. So I do think that might be a factor, might be a big city guy. I understand it, right? Certain guys have different things that are interested in them. But do you see a Western Conference team other than LA being a fit for Panarin?
Well, there's a couple things here. Like, is he going to a place? If I'm Panarin, he's played for two teams, right? He's played in Chicago and he's played in New York. And I don't know the guy personally. Like, we assume he wants to play in the big city. We don't know that. Maybe he's the kind of guy that's fine playing in Utah. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. So my point is this. He could just say, I just want to pick the best team that wants me, and I'll go there for the next 3 months of my life and try to win a cup, or 4 months or whatever we're talking. And then in the summertime, I'll figure out where I want to try to sign a 6 or 8 or whatever year deal that he's going to be looking for. So, I guess my point would be, he may not want to play out his career in Dallas, but he sure may want to go there for 3 months. How about that?
Yeah, very possible, right?
Does it have to be a trade and sign? It doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be a trade and sign at all. No, not at all.
Right.
So it might be, but it definitely doesn't have to be. You're right. Rantanen wasn't with Carolina. Now they'll say, hey, well, look what happened to Carolina. Well, you know what? They still survived and they got some other players. But sometimes you got to go for it and be confident. Now I would say this: if you trade for Panarin, make sure you don't put his spouse up at a hotel, way out of nowhere. It's not a great first impression. So looking back on it, Carolina might want to rethink that one.
At a Super 8 out by the airport. Yeah, those analytics guys, man, they can tell you what your PDO is from 100 miles away, but they can't figure out to put your wife in a nice hotel.
Yeah.
That was a disaster for Carolina.
Yeah, sure. No, it was for sure. What do you, Matthias Ekholm? He finished the game. Now he's listed as day-to-day by Chris Knobloch, but Regula was skating with Bouchard, Spec. So to me, I look at that and say, well, hey, there's no chance he's playing there. We know that because if Ekholm's out, you'll have 3 lefties. Stashton will be back to the left side. You'll have 3 righties. I would guess Emberson would be in your second pair, and then Wallman and Nurse, right? Wallman maybe plays with Bouchard. We'll see. Or Nurse.
I would say that. Yeah, Wallman would play with Bouchard.
So the fact that Wallman didn't skate with Bouchard today, does that make you think that Ekholm is going to play tomorrow?
That's, we're in that gray area where we're trying to guess about injuries with zero actual knowledge. So sure, what you're sleuthing out here for me tells me that yes, generally if they were pretty sure that Bouchard was going to have a different partner, they would play him with that. They'd practice him with that partner because there's not even going to be a morning skate tomorrow of any consequence. So that probably bodes well for Ekholm playing. But, man, you know how injuries go. Like, they're going to say he's day-to-day, and then the next thing they say is, yeah, he should be back sometime after the Olympics. And then, yeah, well, you never know. I hate putting ourselves in the position where we're even trying to guess, Jay, because it's not that educated a guess, is it?
No, not really. Like, I look at a lot of things in the game, right? He finished the game. He's overtime. He's doing the interview. Like, you know, guys will play.
It looked too hurt to me.
Yeah, but he wouldn't be the first player who finished a game and then pops up on the injured list and is out a month, right? He's not the first guy,
that's it.
right? So
maybe he pulled something raising his arms in the air all those times.
Now, worst case scenario is he misses 4 games because that's what they play before the Olympic break, right? That's really worst case scenario here for the Edmonton Oilers. The coach says day to day. We know the day to day can end up being a week. It's happened before. We'll see. But the Oilers, they're coming up. You got young Macklin Celebrini coming to town tomorrow. I know they practice in Vancouver today, but man, he had a 4-point night last night. I haven't watched this many Shark games since my nephew played there. Like Celebrini's, I don't know how many late games you watch, Spec, but I find myself watching a period or two almost every night the Sharks are on. Like Celebrini is a really impressive player to watch.
Oh, he's doing everything now. Like he is, you know, high skill. He's got a little bit better size than some of the young guys that come up, like the skill guys. You know, there's so many smaller skilled guys like Bedard and Caulfield. You know, this guy's a little bit bigger. Like I haven't even stood next to him yet. I've never even interviewed the kid. So that's one thing I'm interested just to see his build and look at him, you know, the way you do with a young player. Like how many pounds is this kid going to put on? What's his frame look like? You know, I've seen him on TV lots, but he's always wearing equipment when I'm looking at him. So that's a reason to go to the rink tomorrow. You know, and he's also carrying, like, I would say this, Jay, when you're trying to put on a rebuild, when you want to get out of where San Jose's been, and I think Mike Greer's clearly got that team in the right path here. It's so awesome when you got one giant star to build around. You know, he acts like a magnet in the free agent market. You want to come play with Celebrini, right? Lots of guys would love that. He brings people to the building at home and on the road. Here we are up in Edmonton, one of the best hockey towns in the world, and we're talking about this guy, you know, 24 hours before the game. Like, it's just such an asset to have a genuine, look at the kids on Team Canada, for Pete's sake. Such a genuine superstar so early in his career for the Sharks. He'll play there for, I mean, unless something goofy happens, he'll play there forever because that's the kind of guy you just pay him whatever he asks for, right?
Yeah, he's going to get a big ticket. I don't know if there's any question about it. The Sharks come. We just saw a young Anaheim Duck team. Now they didn't have their best guys in the lineup, but they still, you know, they got a lot of good guys. Well, they had their best defensemen. You know, that's where the Sharks, to me, you've got Celebrini, but then there's a big gap, right? Like you've got Carlson and you've got Troy Terry and you've got Seneke and you've got Jackson Lacombe. The Sharks have Celebrini, but like Will Smith's a good player, right? He ain't in that category.
Pretty good player, yeah.
Right?
I like Will Smith,
but he's not close to like even Seneke for me. So that's where I look at the Sharks and what they're doing is awesome. And Celebrini is a major, major reason for it. No question in my mind, but they actually could use a few more pieces to surround him with.
Especially on the blue line, right? Especially on the blue line. Like that's one thing that you know, that I love about Anaheim is the proper rebuild starts from the goal out. And I would say, I don't know about Askarov. I think he's turning into the goalie they hoped he'd be in San Jose. I think you can pin a rebuild on this guy. He's young and really, really good. I know that in Anaheim, you got Dostal, and then you got like 4 young defensemen that are all very good players, including a guy that looks like he's going to be a genuine number one in Jackson Lacombe, you know, and Zellweger. And I mean, they can, from the goal line out, Anaheim's building really strong. And then they don't just have 1 or 2 forwards. They got 5 or 6 forwards for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Anaheim, I guess I'd say, is ahead of San Jose. But you know what? It'll take a little time. One thing about rebuilds, man, we all know how easy they are to start, and we all know how hard they are to finish. And I don't mind where San Jose is at right now. In fact, I quite like it. But I'm with you, Jay. Like, they don't have to look very far to see a rebuild that's still ahead of where they are at, for sure.
Yes. No, I like where the Sharks are. Celebrini is a big factor for that. No question about it. And, they've got some guys coming. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know what their farm system's like. I don't even know who they have in their San Jose farm team. I'm not paying close attention to the AHL, but that's a factor too, right? Do they have anybody down there?
Well, Michael Misa, right? The other guy, the goaltender. Now they've already got Askarov, but the other goalie that they just took from Prince George last year, a lot of people are really high on him. What's his name? Ravensbergen. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
They got Sam. They got Sam Dickinson. Chernisov. Lots of people are pretty high on him already. I mentioned Will Smith. You got Quentin Musty. So they've got quite a few guys. They're not all going to hit for sure, but they got a few guys definitely, that could hit. Even what's his name? Now he's in the American League this year. He's a point a game guy. Bysted. He was their first rounder, I think, in 22. So, so they've got some guys coming. I'm not sure how good of he might only be a third liner, but still they got enough in San Jose. I think they need some defensemen. Dickinson will be good, but they need a little bit more. They're back end even now. That's the thing. We saw the Ducks, Beck, and what did I tell you about the Ducks? They give up a lot. And the San Jose Sharks, they give up a lot. And right now the Oilers are scoring a lot. This is Speck, we've jokingly talked about it, man. But this is game 50-5 tomorrow night for the Edmonton Oilers. Their franchise record, most games played in a season to get to a 3-game winning streak, was 55. It happened twice in 1992 and again in 2000. So you don't win tomorrow, you'll set the franchise record for longest amount of games played. Tomorrow you'll at least just tie it for the longest. It's a big, I'm sorry, I know we've talked about it a lot, but it's a big, you got to figure out how to win 3 in a row at some point.
I want them to win 3 in a row just so I can stop answering questions about when are they going to win 3 in a row. And it would probably save you what sounds like a long time with the Oilers media guide out today, pouring over every single season looking for 3-game winning streaks. That sounds like quite a job picking up those stats, but I don't know. There's no reason for me on this. I don't have here's why, right? Here's why they have.
I can tell you why.
Okay, how come?
Because look at their game. Well, first of all, in 8 of the 9 games, Spec, when they were going for a 3-game winning streak where you're playing well, they gave up the first goal. And they're terrible this year. I know they finally won a game last game where they came from behind, but that's number one, right? They haven't been able to carry over consistent commitment game after game. That's been their big problem.
Okay, so I guess that's pretty self-evident when you haven't won 3 in a row. You haven't been able to get consistency, but why can't they get more consistent? They're awfully good in a lot of those 2-game winning streaks, right? You have the 2-game winning streak against Vancouver and St. Louis where you outscore the opponent 11-0. You tell me why the 3rd game they lose that game. Who'd they play? Pittsburgh? It was Pittsburgh. They were terrible.
God, that was awful.
Terrible. Yeah. So don't ask. I don't know why. This is a team that's managed to win playoff series after playoff series. And that means, you win. Basically, they've done an awfully good job of winning 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 3 on a regular basis. And that's how you win series. Don't win every game, but you win more than you lose. So why doesn't that translate into this particular regular season? Oh, man. Don't ask me. I don't have a hot clue why.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't have I kind of have a sense of why. And it's something that here's another opportunity though. The Sharks they're an exciting young team and you better be respectful of them, especially when Celebrini's on the ice. But Edmonton still, let's go down the roster here. They're a better team top to bottom. They should be able to win this game, right? You have to start, I think, at some point to get on a little bit of a roll here.
Yeah, I think you can hear it in the quotes we heard today. Everyone's saying, okay, what do they got left? 4 games before the Olympic break? They got 4.
Yeah.
They go San Jose, Minnesota, Toronto at home, and then they got 1 in Calgary. So I think it's very reasonable to hope and say, we want to be in first place to Pacific if we go in the Olympic break. And maybe by a couple of points here. So you got 8 points to the table. This is a team that I can tell there's an inner sort of project here. Let's get 7 of those points, if not 8. And let's see where we stand at the Olympic break. And I suggest to you, with Vegas out on the road right now and Edmonton sitting at home, if you can get 7 out of 8, you're going to probably be in first place of the break. And then you come out of that break and boom, the trade deadline's in like 5 games or something, and then away we go. So, yeah, we've been saying it for a while, but you are right when you say it's time to hit the gas pedal. There's no doubt about it.
You look at the Oilers spec, and we've talked a little bit about Ty Emberson. I think he's having a good year. What do you think? Did you get a sense from Knobloch today as far are we going Tristan Jarry again here tomorrow? Are they going back to Ingram? What's happening tomorrow in goal, do you think?
That's a good question, right? Do you think, I would ask you I don't know Jarry well enough to say to you, is he the kind of starter that wants to play? I don't think he wants to go every second game. I think that's fair. I think we're looking at a guy that wants to get in the role here, and getting in the role means getting consecutive starts. And I think that when I look at the two guys play, I think I look at it and I'm pretty convinced that Jarry's the number 1 around here and Ingram's the number 2, and that's not going to change. As long as Jarry plays well, that's not going to change. So I guess what I'm going to say to you is the number 1 should play 2 out of 3 games, and I suspect that's what's going to start happening here. Don't you? Am I wrong on that?
Well, Jarry has started. What has he started? 3 of the last 4, and really Ingram played 34 minutes, and the coach admitted kind of a premature pull in that game against Washington, right? So
they won. It was a good pull.
Yeah, well, it was a good pull, but I don't think Ingram was the reason they were down at the point, though, right? If you look back,
he was average.
Yeah,
I think it was a good pull. I like the early
goal.
pull.
I don't know. The goal that goes off a defenseman's leg is not a bad goal.
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
Sure, fair enough. But I guess my point is, I don't mind an early pull. You know what? We need something here. And I guess the proof's in the results. They won that game. He pulled his goalie. They came back. They won the game. To me, that's that means he made the right decision. But anyhow, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. When you look at the last one here for the Oilers is with the forward group right now, and with Szymanski up, they've got it they got a legit center iceman. It seems for the next 4 games, Spec, there'd really be no reason to switch any lines. Just kind of run with these and see what you got.
Well, when everyone's healthy, who's sitting out? Mangiapane and Gregor, correct?
Yes.
You got 2 extra guys. So sure. I mean, I don't listen. The Mangiapane project rolls on here. They're going to continue to roll him into the odd game, and they're going to hope he finds a spark. But I haven't seen one. Have you?
No, dude.
I haven't seen one.
Nothing. No.
So the GM would like for the coach not to just bury this guy in the press box for the rest of the season, because they are trying to move him. But the more they play him, on one hand, you say you can't move a guy who never plays in the press box. Well, the worst thing that's happening here is every time he does play and the scouts in the stands, they look at him and go, why would we want that guy? So to me, that's the only conundrum in terms of your lineup is this whole Mangiapane situation. It's hard to move a guy that's not playing, and it's hard to move a guy who's playing like that. I'm not sure what you do with him.
Well, you're trying to trade him, Spec, but that's
sure.
It's like trying to trade in back if you had the OPG hockey card back in the 80s, and where you might have gotten more McMillan from the Colorado Rockies than any other hockey card in history, and you could never trade it with anybody. That's where Mangiapane is right now. Right? I don't know what would be the equivalent today. I don't have hockey cards. I don't collect them. My son's not a big collector of them, but there's somebody out there will know. There's always one guy, and I just remember being like, how can McMillan have this many hockey cards? It makes no sense to me. And so that's kind of what Mangiapane is right now. Was
it Tom McMillan?
No, Don McMillan.
Don McMillan, yeah. Okay, he's the Don McMillan of the Oilers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Don McMillan hockey card of the Oilers.
I love it, man. Don McMillan.
Oh God, that was.
He's no relation to the McMillan sisters, is he?
I didn't know Donnie's background very well, Spec. No, I'm not sure he was. I know, no idea if that was him or not, but I can't recall. And it was Bob McMillan, not Bob McMillan, when he was a member. And you know what? I remember looking up his later on. He played 1 freaking year with the Rockies, and the guy, they must have just made the most, or I had the worst luck ever. But I remember, and actually, I had those boxes because I went through I had 11 Bob McMillan cards and he was from the Colorado Rockies. And I remember looking it up afterwards. He played 1 year there. How the hell did that happen? It was such like, I don't know, there must have been a misprint on the printer and someone hit copy 1 and hit it 5 times instead.
Yeah.
And they're like,
then
let's just get rid of these.
They had way too many cards, so they sent them all to New Sarepta.
Yeah.
Figured no one out there is going to complain.
Yeah,
and some
it was in
kid
Leduc, buddy.
Sarepta-
It was a kid in Leduc. It was
some
Leduc
kid-
Max, right across the high school. Everybody in Leduc knows where that is, buddy. That Max store, God, they made a kill. I probably kept that store in business back then with the hockey cards.
Oh, man.
Remember those hockey
Awesome.
cards? And they had the gum that was like rock hard in it.
terrible
Like,
gum.
oh my God, you chip a tooth chewing it. But I still did. But
So you look more like a hockey player.
yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Oh, it's good stuff. Well, Spec, we'll chat with you tomorrow. We'll find out if Matthias Ekholm is playing or not.
Yeah, sounds good, Jake.
Awesome. There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. So yeah, anybody out there who collects, like, what's the one hockey card? Collins, I don't think you collect hockey cards, do you now?
No, not since I was like
Somebody else. We
junior
should
high.
ask Brad. Brad's got a ton of them.
He would
and,
know.
And I just couldn't believe it. How many Bobby McMillan hockey cards I had. The guy played 1 year for the Rockies. 1. Now, he had a good year. He had 50 points in 57 games. But still, Bobby Mack, no offense. Like, he had a really good career. Right? Like, the guy played like almost 800 NHL games. Like, he had a good career. But, God, couldn't believe how many cards. Just every time I pull it, it's brutal. Hey, guys, I have 20 Ross Laundry cards. I know your pain. Ross Lawnberry. Now that is is this Low Tide texting in? That's an unreal thing. Like somewhere Low Tide is like, I like that. That's a good pull. Take a quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Does your New Year's resolution include saving money? Then don't miss the store-wide inventory clearance at the Brick. Save up to 70% off in-store clearance items. Buy more, save more on bedroom and dining furniture. Up to 25% off. Save on select major kitchen appliances. Plus, buy 2 or more and save the tax. Finally, a resolution you can keep. The Brick, saving you more. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. featuring graders, forklifts, wheel loaders, man lifts, mini excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, plus commercial trailers and sea cans. Info at maauctions.com.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auctions are this Thursday and Friday. These major events include multiple lanes selling a large section of multi-purpose trucks, equipment, and commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
By 27, welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Hanley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. Be sure to get to playalberta.ca. Got the Daily Gregor Show odds boost if you want some NHL action tonight and a little pre-Super Bowl pick. Check it out. Playalberta.ca. We're going to give you some odds boosts. The Oilers, of course, practice today. No Matthias Ekholm. He's listed as day to day. Regula was skating with Bouchard, which obviously isn't happening if the game is played without Matthias Ekholm. Regula would be the third pair right defenseman, likely with Stastny. Then Emerson on your second pair with Nurse because they played together. And I would guess then Jake Wallman would go with Bouchard. I guess there's a chance you can play Wallman and Emerson and then put Nurse with Bouchard, but they might lean towards Wallman. It's me, but we shall see. Maybe Ekholm will be ready to go, and it won't matter. As we get to the oil report, brought to you by goauto.ca. Any vehicle you're looking for, they got it. 76 locations and over 15,000 vehicles. Enjoy shopping. Goauto.ca. As Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff joins us. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Gregor. It stays light out a little bit longer too. That's always nice.
Funny. Once it's light out, when I can walk out of the building after the show, that's when I'm like, oh, it's amazing feeling. I love it. It's getting closer. Yep. Before we get to hockey talk, like, why can't you guys beat Flames Nation? What the hell's your problem?
Listen, I can give a very politician-like answer here. We just didn't have the team game that we needed in that one. I don't think our roster was quite as deep as Flames Nation. I will say this, though. Carter Hutton was on our team. That guy could have made the NHL as a forward. He was unbelievable. You never know with a goalie, like how well things translate. And he played for 10 years. He was like one of the best hockey players I've ever skated with.
And you still lost?
Lost by one goal.
Oh, you lost by one goal?
Yeah, it was close.
Anybody break a stick?
Oh, Ryan Pinder from Flames Nation. He would break your stick. That is an intense guy. So they have him, and he's running stuff hard. And Johnny Lazarus, I mean, he played Div 1 NCAA at UMass, so he was really, really good too. So they had a good team there. We gave him a good fight, but just came up a little short.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good excuses. Let's get to the Oilers. And who's scoring a hat trick tomorrow?
Well, I mean, let's just keep kind of following the breadcrumbs here. If Alec Regula gets in, maybe it's him. Just pick a defenseman, and you probably got pretty good odds on it. But no, all jokes aside, I mean, it's been great to see the D-men getting up in the rush a little bit. I feel like that's something that was, not fully missing, but definitely wasn't that apparent in their game over the last couple of weeks here, really in the first half of the season. But like seeing Darnell Nurse and Matthias Ekholm both get up in the rush like that, I think that's an encouraging sign, because when this team's at their best, it's when they are all in, not just the forwards, the D-men too, all pushing the puck up the ice with pace.
Well, you look at it. Hey, you know what? It's obviously like the odds of somebody getting a hat trick again, or for a defenseman anyway, that'd be unbelievable. It'd be fun to see, but we'll see. I think the Oilers. I'll say this though: there will be opportunities for goals tomorrow night. Now the Sharks can score, not as much as the Ducks, but they give up a lot. And the Edmonton Oilers. This is an opportunity. Like Celebrini's there. I think it's going to be exciting. Probably the most exciting Sharks game in Edmonton in quite some time. Just from who's coming in on the opposing team. Outside of people maybe. But I look at Celebrini. I'm excited to see him in person. But more so, the Oilers here. This is an opportunity. Their offense has been pretty good. They put 5 St. Louis. They put up a 7 spot. They put up a 6 spot. They put up a 5 spot. So they've scored. I know that they had the Pittsburgh game was a disaster. But overall, their offense has been pretty good lately.
Yeah, the offense has been starting to, again, like pick up and start to buzz a little bit. And, another chance for them to win 3 in a row, and you're on home ice against this San Jose team who you were just talking about, Celebrini. With him on the ice at 5-on-5 this year, they're plus 14. With him off the ice at 5-on-5 this year, they're minus 31. That is an absolutely insane swing. So if you're the Oilers and your offense has been feeling good and you're now getting a chance against an opponent who, with Macklin Celebrini off the ice, like that is statistically one of the worst teams in the NHL when you remove him from the equation, there is no excuse for this lineup to not continue to produce offense tomorrow night. And I liked everything I kind of saw in that Anaheim game. As much as there were some defensive breakdowns, like purely talking offensively, I thought every line kind of had a couple of really good impactful shifts. So again, keep that rolling. Like no excuses to not be offensively dominant tomorrow night with how this Sharks team looks.
Sally Remchuk joins us. Connor McDavid here is on a run of 28 games, 2 points a game, 56 points in 28 games. Like this is some of the best hockey we've ever seen him play. And it's like, it just keeps extending. And it's almost now to the point where it's almost got a little expected again, which is crazy.
I know. I was just kind of laughing. I'm like, he had those 2 like back-to-back games without a point, and it was like, oh my God, is Connor McDavid heading into a slump? And it's like, you kind of have to remind yourself, like, no, normal players go through that. And he, of course, responds with 7 points in his next 2 games. But you're right. I mean, you can go to play Alberta. I'm sure McDavid to get 2 points in any game is like minus 115, which is, again, just absolutely insane. But that's the kind of level that that 97 is on right now. And that line with him, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman, I was looking on Money Puck because they keep track of all the lines in the NHL and who's performing. That trio has the highest expected goals for percentage in the NHL over this last stretch. And that just tells you, like, not only are they scoring, but they are generating a lot, and they're generating a lot from dangerous areas. The one last game that gave me a good chuckle is Connor McDavid had that one where he worked in wide, cut across the crease, and he had just a wide open net, and he missed it by like a foot and a half. He zipped it right through the crease. And that was one where, like, man, I mean, even when things are going well, sometimes you miss those. But I think there was the look of disbelief on McDavid's face that, like, for the last month and a half, those have been falling like crazy. And it was almost like he shook his head like, I can't believe I just missed that one. But he's been on fire.
Yeah. Well, he's looked really good. Do you, as they, and they get healthier now, and they're, other than Adam Henrique, this is as healthy as really they've been all season long. Do you think they look for 3C or a top 6 winger?
I still kind of lean 3C. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the top 6 wingers that are going to be on the market, I'm very curious how much they're going to cost, and if the Oilers have the kind of assets that they might need to get into a bidding war with, like, they could be bidding against Anaheim, who's got a ton of futures they could dangle. Who knows? I don't think San Jose is going to add, but they could be in the mix. LA has cap space after offloading Philip Deneau earlier in the year. Like, there are other teams in the West who are going to be looking to add top 6 help who, again, have more assets than the Oilers, have more cap space. So there's a part of me that thinks they might have to check down a little bit. And not to give you a total fence-sitting answer, but what if they just found someone who could maybe do either? Like, Boone Jenner's one of my favorite targets on the market. He can play center. He can play some wing. One of the interesting, I did a piece the other day looking at some, call them check down players, guys who are maybe in the secondary part of the trade market. But, like, what about a guy like Eric Holla in Nashville? He's played a bit of center. He can play left wing. Like, maybe you add a piece like that. And if you ever feel the need to mix things up and put Nuge at 3C, you can try someone else next to McDavid. Like, pieces who continue to give your forward group versatility, I guess, is maybe my answer to your question.
Interesting. I think Edmonton needs to take a bigger swing than a guy like Eric Holla for me.
Yeah.
Now, financially, that'll obviously be a challenge for sure. When Adam Henrique comes back, they're going to have to, like, they got to do something before either it's before the trade, before the Olympic freeze, or Adam Henrique. And I don't know when the trade freeze will open up after. I don't know if it's like at noon on the 24th or what. They haven't looked into specifically. I know you can't make any trades during the break, but if they don't move Mangiapane by next Thursday, then they can't really activate Henrique until they move him.
Yeah, they're in a pinch right now. Like everyone kind of looks at the Mangiapane thing as like, oh, it's their way to free up cap space ahead of the deadline. But that basically just allows you to run a roster with everyone healthy. Like that's why you need to move Andrew Mangiapane, which is why you hear some of these things. And this rumor kind of died down pretty quickly. But there was a point where I know on 32 Thoughts, Friedman brought up the idea of Ryan Strome and like the fact or the people who are throwing out like, oh, you swap Mangiapane for another bad contract. Like, no, the Oilers need to try find a way to get out of his deal almost completely. You can trade him for a guy making $1.5 million-ish or something in that range, but you can't just send Mangiapane out for another bad contract, which I would imagine is what's maybe holding this whole thing up and maybe is why they haven't found a deal for him yet, is because no teams kind of put up their hand and been like, yeah, we'll take him for free. Like teams might be asking the Oilers to, I don't know, maybe not retain, but take another piece back. And with their cap picture, they can't do that.
No. They're going to have to. Well, you know what? Teams have done it before, and you got to get creative. And we'll see some moves that they do, and they'll have some options to move around. I'm kind of curious what he does, but I think it's a bigger swing. I don't know if it happens. Or I think the Mangiapane one, ideally, they'd like to have him before next Thursday, just so you can activate Henrique afterwards, and then away you go. You could, and you probably could even activate him beforehand, and then if you wanted to, just so you could accrue some cap space for the 3 weeks, right? That's the other part of it.
Yeah, that's what I talked with Hart from Puckpedia about that a couple of weeks ago. And that is the other incentive to trying to get out of LTIR space here in the next, whatever we want to call it, 7 days before the freeze kicks in. Because if you can get under, and again, I don't want to do the math live on the air right now because I'm terrible at math. But if you can get to like 1.5-ish million in cap space, like that'll grow to closer to 2 million by the time the deadline rolls around. And again, that's the difference. If we're talking about another team retaining 50%, that's the difference between a guy making 3 mil or a guy who could potentially be making closer to $2.5 million by the time you keep accruing.
Yes, that could help them for sure. So we shall see. Ty, quickly, you're a week too early, but who do you like today in the Super Bowl and why?
Well, I'm a Bills fan, so I am obviously going to say the Seattle Seahawks. When we talked before the playoffs, I think the line I said was it would be all sorts of painful if the first year without Mahomes and Lamar and all of these guys in the playoffs, if what ends up happening is the Buffalo Bills lose and a team like New England gets in, because now I'm sitting here as a Bills fan being like, oh my God, in all these years where we've been missing on our opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, the New England Patriots have somehow fully rebuilded in that time frame and are back to looking like the old Patriots. So on principle, I will not be wagering on the New England Patriots, and I will say that the Seattle Seahawks will smoke them. I'll take them minus 10 points. Why not?
Ooh, I don't mind that at all. I actually think it's going to be a blowout. Now, I don't know if it's going to be 43-8. I actually didn't remember that score until I looked it up. I didn't remember that they spanked the Broncos that bad with Peyton Manning 43-8. But that happened the year before they lost to the Patriots. So the Seahawks, they've had a blowout before in the Super Bowl, so maybe they'll have another one. And Sam Darnold, from that vaunted draft class, will be the first quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
And what a story he is too. Hey, like, I mean, the Jets stuff, it's impossible to succeed with the New York Jets, but like bouncing around, the fact he made the decision to like go to San Francisco and say like, hey, I know I'm not playing, but I just want to learn and reinvent myself. It really is like one of the better stories in sports, and hopefully he can finish it off.
Awesome stuff, Ty. We will chat with you next week. Have a good one.
Sounds good. See ya.
There you go. That is Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Quick break. We'll return. There is a trade coming. We just don't know when, but it is coming involving Artemi Panarin. He's held out of the lineup tonight. The Rangers are playing the Islanders today. The Rangers are playing the Islanders tomorrow. And then Panarin gets traded to the Islanders on Friday. Dare to dream, Connor Halley. Dare to dream. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Just think, Kevin Karius has been covering Edmonton sports since before TikTok, Twitter, texting, and the Titanic. We may have made that last one up. Check out Karius in the mornings on Sports 1440. Your game, your station.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Escape the cold and catch the hottest sports action at Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Not a bad seat in the house. All the games and tons of big screens. Plus, Selly's menu has something for everyone, along with game night food and drink features. And this January, Oilers watch parties continue. So bring your friends and cheer loud and proud. Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
Your fantasy football league sucks. Why? Oh, we've got 7 painfully accurate reasons. And don't worry, we've got fixes too. Visit fantasytoilet.com for all the tools and hilarious awards to make your fantasy league suck less.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Get your power play amped up with Ewell, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. Ewell.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, through Thursday afternoon, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. So, Cons, the Islanders taking on the Panarin-less Rangers off to an early 2-0 lead. And Andre Palat paying big early dividends in his first game. Scores a goal assisted from Holmstrom and Schaefer. That opened up the scoring, and they've added another one like a minute and 11 seconds later, so they lead 2-0. The Blue Jackets, Charlie Coyle, has a goal as the Flyers trail them 1-0, and just starting the Senators hosting the Avalanche. Where's Panarin going, Cons, man? What is your guess? Just a fun guess on where you think he goes.
Vegas, just because they get everyone.
Vegas. Wow.
They find a way to get it done.
Okay. All right.
I don't actually know. I think that the Central has to compete. Minnesota, maybe him and Kaprizov, they find that connection. Dallas per chance, but a fun pick would be Vegas. But I think in the Central, it's just such an arms race, and two of those teams meet in the first round. They got to load up as much as possible to get past them, and then they still have a tough task going ahead. So I'll say the Central Division.
The Vegas one really kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, ooh. I don't mind that one, but
they get everyone, right?
Yeah. Well, they seemingly do at times, so it would be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to get Panarin, but I could be wrong. I guess you can never rule them out. I just looking. I'd have to look at their cap space to see if they could even do it. Because it'll be interesting with the new cap rules. Tampa, Vegas, Florida, all teams who benefited from the previous rules. You can't deny that. They benefited. They didn't break any rule. They benefited from the previous rule. This year, No team will have that benefit, and I wonder how it will impact the playoffs.
Looks pretty tough cap-wise for the Golden Knights to make it happen.
Yeah. Hey, boys, what about the Sabres? Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think he'd go there, right? Like, he's still got, that's why I mentioned the Islanders, because he's right in New York, right? And we just saw the Islanders just made a trade with the Rangers and then with the Devils. So maybe teams don't care about trading to the rival anymore. Now, Panarin may be a little bit different, but you got Sorokin. We know the Russian players love New York City. And the Islanders desperately could use a high-end offensive player. Everybody knows that's what they need, right? Like, they can defend pretty well. They got an elite goalie who's right now the best goalie in the NHL this season. The LA Kings are the other team that everybody's talked about. But when I look at the Kings, I'm kind of like, well, what do they have to offer, right? That to me is my question in LA. Now, he is a pending UFA, right? So, maybe it's not going to have to be as much as some people think. But even like young players that you look and say, okay, because they probably have to give up some cap space, but like I guess they could give up Kuzmenko, right? That would free up $4.3 million, right? So that frees up something, but like they don't have a lot of young guys up front. Alex Turcotte, like, is he really going to move the needle for them, right? In their farm system, guys that like Liam Greentree, like they don't have a ton. So that to me would be the interesting one in regards to, what would they do there, right? They do have their first rounder this year. Well, they have their first round for the next few years. They have 2 second rounders this year, 2 second rounders in the second and third round this year. So I don't know. We'll see. Like, what's the return? Is Panarin's return going to be similar to what the Islanders got for Brock Nelson, right? Because they got a pretty good young player. But Brock Nelson's obviously been unreal. So the Colorado Avalanche, yeah, we'll give up a young player to do it. So I think that starts there. And I would argue that Panarin might get you even more than Brock Nelson, potentially. So, hey, guys, what about Detroit? That one comes from Nick. Nick, that's not a bad choice at all. Detroit could definitely use him. And they've got the space. That's the one thing. The Detroit Red Wings, they got cap space. Right? Like they got a boatload of cap space. So they could easily add him in without having to even give up any legit salary. They, might have to give up a younger player or two, but like, I know Michael Rasmussen's not really that young anymore. So I don't even know. Like Emmett Finney, good young player, but if you're Detroit, you're giving up Emmett Finney as well as some other pieces to do it. Like what would the Rangers, like if the Rangers might say, hey, give us one of your younger defensemen, right? Do they want to give up Sandin Pellikka? Like, seem like a lot, but they've already got Seider and they've already got Simon Edvinsson. So you look and say, like, we got our D. They just signed Ben Sherratt to a 3-year deal. So, yeah, Detroit's not a bad pick at all. I don't mind that. I could see it happening. So that would make the Atlantic a little bit tougher, right? The Rangers keep them out of there. So, hey, guys, what about the Sharks? I don't know if Panarin wanted, like, the weather's great. It's not really a big market, funny enough. Like San Jose itself, right? San Francisco is really big and it's far away. And so
they're tight on the cap too.
Well, the Sharks are right now for sure, but they have quite a bit of cap space coming, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because they got guys on LTIR and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, well, they don't have any defensemen signed next year. That's what's wild about them, and not many forwards. So I just don't know if and they've got some buried money that's coming off. Like they got like $5 million in dead cap space right now in retention and Nick Leddy and Lauren Brossoit, right? And some buyouts and stuff on, or actually, no, those guys are in the minors con. Sorry, they're buried in the minors, $5 million. And then they've got like, how much they got? I can't remember. Like Marty Jones, does he have 1 year after this year or is his last year, right? And Vlasic. So I don't know when those guys come off. I think Vlasic's still on next year, but I think he goes down to like 1.5 or something.
He and Jones are both 1.666
next year.
Yeah.
So only 1 point? Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad.
Oh.
So, yeah, so not terrible.
2.3-ish mil.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's not terrible. So
it is crazy, though. You mentioned it. Like, only Dmitry Orlov under contract next year.
Yeah.
And Sam Dickinson is on his rookie deal.
Yeah, like they'll obviously sign Shakir Makmadulin, right? He's an RFA, he doesn't have much rights, but yeah, I don't think San Jose is there yet. Guys, what about the Panthers with Barkov? Well, the Panthers haven't put Barkov on season-ending LTIR. They still think he's coming back, right? And because they did that, they only get $3.8 million of LTIR space. So I know Florida's been out there, and it wouldn't surprise me. Bill Zito's never afraid to go do something, so you can't rule them out. But how the hell are they fitting that in? Because you got to remember, Panarin, what it costs him in the regular season right now, his cap hit would be less than in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he has to be half of his current 11.6, so just 5.8. So I don't know how they could do that, right? They have to ship out somebody, and any of the guys with big tickets all got long-term deals, right? There's no one, like, who's the guy? So here are their players that at least up until 2030, Connor Halley, $5 million players. Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhardt, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Marchand, Lundell up front. Jones, Ekblad, Forsling, Mikkel on the back end. All of them are signed until 2030 at least $5 million. So, now Bobrovsky, that frees up some space. He's a $10 million guy this year. They're obviously going to be looking for a goalie next year, or they maybe re-sign him at a much lower cap hit to maybe be a backup or something because he's not having a very good year this year. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, unless, like, are they going to, like, Carter Verhaeghe, does he have a no movement clause? I think he does. Like, I don't know how the Panthers could do it. I know they've been pretty good at cap moves before, but I just don't know how he could do it.
All those guys 28 or older as well. Like Sam Bennett, 29, Kachuk, 28, the youngest. Curious to see how this looks in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, very true. Hey, boys, what about Montreal? Funny enough, I don't think he's what they need in Montreal. Montreal can score. And Panarin's not a very big guy. He's super skilled, though. But they got, like, Cole Caulfield right now is a better goal scorer, there's no question. And Suzuki and Slavkovsky and, like, unless you know what? Well, you could unload Panarin. I mean, not Panarin, but Patrick Laine. Right, just get the Rangers to take it. That would make the money work for sure for this year. But what about next year? They probably have to get rid of some guys. So it'll be fantastic, fascinating to see. But my dark horse, just for the drama, I'm saying Islanders, just for fun. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update. Have yourselves an awesome Wednesday evening. We'll have Sharks, Celebrini, Oilers, McDavid, much more tomorrow on the show. Here's the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how we build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Quick note from Oilers practice earlier today. Matthias Ekholm day today, according to head coach Chris Knobloch, will be questionable for tomorrow night's game against the San Jose Sharks. On the ice tonight, just 3 games after 20 minutes. Islanders lead the Rangers 2-1. Midway through the first, Flyers and Jackets had a 1 apiece, while the Avs and Sens scoreless with 14 minutes left in the first. In the association, it's early, but the Raptors have a 12-3 lead over the New York Knicks. Elsewhere, Lakers up on the Cavs 40-36 in the second, and the Bulls lead the Pacers 47-20. Later on tonight, Grizz host the Hornets, Timberwolves take on the Mavericks, Jazz and Warriors, and the Spurs are in Houston. Edmonton Oilers back in action tonight, taking on the Calgary Hitmen in Calgary. Puck drop 7 o'clock in that one. And from the PWHL, 4 games, Toronto and Montreal, Ottawa hosting Seattle, New York takes on Boston, and Vancouver meeting Minnesota. NFL news is the Cleveland Browns have named Todd Monken their next head coach. They're 11th since 1999. He's spent the last couple of years as the OC in Baltimore. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio all night long. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carey. It's here on Sports 1440. You can watch it on YouTube at Sports 1440 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcast.